Let's go! It's time! Stripes, Cincinnati, we gon' rise and up. In the jungle, we unite and up. Trippin' orange and black and white. All day when we fight, live and die in these stripes. Now who gotta move rockin' on? Now who wanna move tossing on? Now who wanna move out on? If you got stripes, then you let the city know you rock 'em. Yeah, we got 'em. Yeah, we fought 'em. Like that black and orange up on 'em. Single bottle, never stop it. To the beast and know 'em. Who they rockin' with the diamond stripes? Flossin' on the ring. Cincinnati, she's our queen. We gon' show the world who king. Orange in the day, black in the night. Stripes in our veins.
Welcome to another episode of Bengals and Brews. I am Altman, and I'm joined by, Derek Davis, not even the Wayne Jarrow anymore.
Hey,
I know he's barely here.
I ain't wore the mask in a minute, so maybe I'll have to break the bad boy out one day.
All
Who
right.
knows?
And then part-time host who does 5 shows a week with me, Greg Luther. Then the man Pork Chop, and then our guest for the night, Evan McPhillips. You guys might see him on Right Report. He worked for PFF. The man knows his shit, people.
I appreciate it, Dave. Thank you.
So what is up, guys?
Doing good. I'm good, man. Took a trip to the liquor store since we talked last time. Got some Jägermeister, some
All right.
beers.
Well, that's a good place to start. What are we drinking?
Bourbon, baby.
I'm drinking, as always, I got my vagina drink out here according to fucking Jeff. My Bud Light hard seltzer.
Goes hard. And then you got a little stuff on the side.
I got Jägermeister in the freezer, but I'm chilling it out first.
Yeah, I took a shot at a little Jaeger bomb before I came down, so I respect that. Derek?
Hey, I got bourbon as usual.
I know.
This is my my specialty blend right here. It's just I call it my infinity bottle. So every
the
time
one you pour everything in.
Every time I get a little low on one of my bourbons, I just pour it right in there and just keep on going.
Tastes better that way, doesn't it?
It does. It's so good. It's so good.
Greg, what you got?
I just got my old Bengals Bud Light I bought earlier this season. Still tastes good with my koozie.
Oh man, this man, that when did you get that? Like September? That's probably skunk ass beer, Greg.
I got made a custom koozie.
It's still cold, still good.
All right, Evan, what are you
Speaking
drinking?
of koozies,
I'm on the same train as Greg there, man. I got the Bud Light. I know it's not your favorite. I know you're a Miller man yourself.
Yeah, I got my Miller here, but I am special occasions here and there. Being Friday, got a little spice rum. Little spice rum, little Lady Bly. I don't do the Captain Morgan. Lady Bly is a little cheaper. And so Marissa, I was like, oh, you didn't get like Diet Cola or whatever. She got a little Diet Dr. Pepper. I was like, no, we've mixed that with Fireball before. It actually tastes really good.
Sounds awesome.
Dr. Pepper and Fireball are good together?
Yes. But this is Lady Bly. This is spice rum and some Dr. Pepper, Diet Dr. Pepper. Yeah, this is what we're doing over here. We're getting fucked up tonight. It's Friday. How long week? I'm on spring break next week. Fuck it. Let's go.
Are you? You guys got a whole week for that, or?
Yeah, we usually don't. It's usually like 2 days for the school. But this week, I seen it on schedule. Like at the end of last year, it was like a whole week. I was like, oh, we doing that? I'm like, okay.
Anybody else got anything exciting going on for spring break, or has spring break already happened for y'all?
I took off next week for my kids. They're on spring break too, but we ain't doing shit, so I'm going to go see this motherfucker.
Yeah. Hey, Derek, Pork Chop and Greg care more about me than you, by the way.
Yeah, you don't give a shit.
I do not want to hear that. I literally drove by your house was it November? I can't remember.
Drove by.
He drove by.
I said, hey, I am going to the river. Did I get a text back? No. So I don't know whose fault that is, but
Evan, I'm like 2 hours from Cincinnati, so no one really is ever around here.
Mm-hmm.
I can. You know what? I'll pick Derek up on the way.
There you go, Derek.
Now you're on the fucking spotlight, buddy.
Next Thursday.
Thursday. Where do you think I'm going to be?
In the fucking truck going up to see Dale.
I'm going to be kidnapped, Evan.
Was that right?
Pretty much.
By force, if it needed.
All right, where you guys want to start this Bengal talk wise?
I'll tell you what I want to start with. Are Our new signing that we just had. No, because I had never heard of this guy before. Can you guys speak on him a little bit?
Went to OU. Terrell Basham.
Yeah.
We'll start with Evan because he's the smartest here. Start with the smartest.
Well, Basham's bounced around the league a little bit. He's been generally kind of that 500 to 600 snap guy, mainly a pass rusher. Has produced decently well as a pass rusher. Not quite the sure tackler that you kind of hope for. He's had over a 17% missed tackle rate and lower than a 40 PFF grade in tackling in 3 separate years. So hopefully that's something that you can coach up, but you definitely expect this to be more of kind of that depth rotational piece, just a swing at a veteran guy that's cheap, that's going to add a little bit more competition, a little bit more depth to that pass rush room, which I think is something you definitely see the Bengals kind of want to do. Is the defense was really good last year, was a top 5 unit in terms of EPA per play allowed, which is great. But a lot of that came from the coverage and from the run defense. And you see their team pass rush grade ranked 17th, which is just not where you want to be when you're talking about a defense that's got to compete with guys like Pat Mahomes, like Josh Allen in the playoffs, who are some of the hardest guys to bring down. So obviously you have Trey Hendrickson and DJ Reader doing really well for their spot as pass rushers, but past that, Sam Hubbard, we know he's an excellent run defender, but just lacks the juice as a pass rusher. BJ Hill is definitely a solid option, but there's more needed there than just the Joseph Ossai's of the world. You got to find ways to cycle out Sam Hubbard while also keeping Trey Hendrickson fresh, which is why I definitely expect them to look to add more in the draft. I don't think this Terrell Basham signing would preclude them from taking a guy early by any means.
Yeah, my thoughts on it was like we brought him in for a visit along with Street, wasn't it? Contavious Street.
Contavious Street, yeah. So they're definitely looking for pass rush.
He signed with New Orleans though, and he would have been more your 3-tech pass rush guy. And I was like, man, get him. He's 26. I know Basham, when we talked about it, Greg, was 29.
Yeah.
And he had 0 sacks last year, but I think the 2 years before he had 4 sacks each. So he can rush the passer a little bit, but honestly, at this point, I think he's just competing with Gunner to be like the 5th DN on the roster because you're top 4.
The last one to make the cut kind of deal.
Yeah.
Okay.
Which that's good. It's good to have that. And like Evan said, if you bring in another guy that in the draft, that guy will compete, possibly beat both of them out. But I love that that's what we're doing right now is filling in depth pieces, doing this and that and the other.
Now, what about the one guy who took a year off for us, and his name is escaping me right now, and said he was wanting to come back?
Oh, no, we released him. Wyatt Hubert.
Oh, okay. Did we release him?
Yeah,
okay, yeah. I was
he
wondering.
Has opportunities with anybody.
Okay. Because when you were talking back into the depth chart kind of guys, I'm like, well, that's getting a little.
Yeah,
it's going to be a bloodbath, man. It's going to be a heck of a competition, man. You got a lot of guys back there. You've got Gunther, you've got Carter, you've got Cam Sample coming on, and you saw all these younger guys start to take on more of a role in the second half of the season as they were trying to rotate these guys out, compensate for the Hendrickson injury that he was dealing with. So I think you saw them put more on their plate, and the guys responded too, which is just speaks to the level of competition that there's going to be. And I would still like to add to that D line, like Dale was saying, you want more of that 3-tech guy. You want someone inside. I mean, someone I'd like to add inside that's a veteran that's bounced around the league is like a Matt Ioannidis, who, he's nothing special, but he's a really solid guy that you know what you're going to get from and can give you that. There's guys like Justin Houston and Melvin Ingram, who, though they're older, were absolute killers last year. The pass rush productivity for Justin Houston was like top 11 among defensive ends. Melvin Ingram had a great season as a pass rusher and bounced around. He might still be hungry for a ring as he didn't stick around in Kansas City long enough to get his, and he went to Miami. So those are guys out there that I think you could – competitive veterans that you can still sign that could really make an impact on this team.
Yeah, for sure. And then, we talked about this a little earlier. Tom saying played under Joe's dad because he's from OU's and he was D coordinator forever. So I don't think that really factored into it. They brought him in.
It's like a guy being from Nebraska. Zach Taylor didn't say we have to sign this guy, but it doesn't hurt,
Yeah,
sounds good, right?
Right.
Yeah.
Now I don't know about this, Fiji. So Fiji's asking Basham played some 3-tech. I don't know. I don't know if you know that either, Evan.
Let me pull up. I can get his detailed position snaps from his last 2 years real quick.
Like size-wise, it's not a guy I would expect to do that, but that doesn't always mean everything because some guys just
didn't really kick into the interior much, mainly stayed on the ends and that outside linebacker kind of spot. So don't know that he would really be an answer there.
Yeah, I agree with that. And then the contract numbers came in for Irv Smith. We talked about this a little earlier, but Irv Smith and Sidney Jones. Wow.
Love those signings, man. Love them. Signings.
Yep. So basically, maximum you've got $3.08 million. That's if Irv hits his top line of it in two veteran players to have produced in this league.
Mm-hmm.
So, and I love both those signings because it's what you don't have to. I want Cam Fleming at right tackle.
Mm-hmm.
Like, what do you guys think of that? As like, I know we have Jonah's the big question mark. So just right tackle in general, Evan, between Jonah, Cam Fleming, and then the draft. What are your thoughts on right tackle? Maybe where would you lean on that?
You're definitely talking about health concerns for Lyle Collins, for Jonah Williams, right? We know Ford has played right tackle before, but that feels like a distant dream. He spent the last 3 years at guard, still couldn't stick around on a team there. I feel like it's a lot to suddenly be like, oh, he's going to switch back to right tackle and it's going to be great. Like, I think that's a lot to ask or a lot to expect. So I would definitely be a fan of adding a guy like Fleming that if Jonah is not healthy, or I don't think he'll sit out, but if you decide to trade that route and you still want insurance to not pigeonhole yourself in the draft, I think that's a good guy that you can add. And maybe that's someone who gets signed by a team after the draft, where once that happens and a team goes, okay, the board didn't quite fall the way we thought it would. We didn't get a tackle that we feel great about. Now we can add these guys like a Fant, like a Fleming that can give you that swing tackle veteran versatility on a cheap 1 or 2 year contract. But I definitely love, like you said, the way they're kind of not only targeting these guys who are a little bit of risks, but the way they're structuring these contracts, like they did for Lyle Collins, like you said, where they're putting these roster bonuses, they're putting these active bonuses in there. And it's not a lot of money, but it's just ways that you protect yourself from things like the Trey Wayne stuff, where you end up paying a guy to not play for you, and then you end up cutting him and paying him again not to play for you. So I just to do a little quick lip service to what I feel like Irv Smith and Sidney Jones bring. You're talking about a guy who has had a bigger explosive play rate than both Uzomah and Hurst. Hurst was 17.6, Uzomah 18.2, Irv Smith was 21.4%. So when he's out there, he definitely gives you more as a receiver than you've gotten out of Uzomah, out of Hurst. And we've seen what Burrow has been able to do with them. So you get a guy who's more athletic, can attack the seams and threaten these linebackers a little more, and still offer that kind of fuller route tree up the sideline. If you're getting him on one of those years where he's not injured, he's going to be impressive, and he can actually give you as much as a bigger guy can, like a Hayden Hurst as a blocker. He's pretty good once he gets on the move.
He's a pretty good blocker, yeah.
He's a good mover, right? He gets a little bit of speed under his belt to help out with the undersize, but he's willing and he puts in the effort, which is more than you could have said about how you felt about the tight end room just a week or two ago, right? And then just real quick on Sidney Jones, I love how physical he is, and I think Lou probably does too. He's only 27 and has struggled a little bit with injuries and inconsistency, but as soon as he got out of that Schwartz Philadelphia kind of scheme where we know corners can get left on an island, and I think that was more of a execute my scheme and you'll be good, as opposed to what Lou does where he says, how are you good? And I will help you be the best you can. Looking at his last year that he played with Seattle, because, he got cut this year, then landed on the Raiders. Obviously, it was a weird situation with the Raiders there to join halfway through. So if we look at his year in Seattle just before, he was only 62nd in snaps with 730. But despite that, despite other corners playing over 1,000 snaps, I think it was like 21 different corners, he ranked 18th in total tackles. So 62nd in snap and 18th in tackles and 32nd in defensive stops. So despite playing 200-300 less snaps than 30 or 40 other corners, he outpaced them as a run stopper. And he ranked 15th out of 77 corners in missed tackle rate. So you're getting a guy who's a willing tackler. He's got good hands. He's got vice grips, and he's going to be playing physical like Lou wants. And I really think that he is a great veteran signing that is going to help them this year, especially at the boundary while they're waiting on a guy like Cheeto to maybe get fully healthy.
Well, I know what Lou was able to do with Eli Apple, and Sidney Jones, I think, has just as much upside as Eli did. Mm-hmm. And, like, beyond last year, like you said, which was a weird year because then he was cut on waivers, whatever, picked up. So he didn't have a great year last year. But other than that, his coverage grades, we went over those. His coverage was higher than Apple, like, from year to year, almost every year beyond last year. So I'm like, the dude can play. And you got him for $1 million. You got him for basically vet minimum.
Yeah, and then as far as can y'all hear that shit?
Yeah,
it's down here too.
Yeah.
Good Lord.
Yeah, it's obviously a concern when you're injured. It's the same thing with Collins last year. Cowboys fans were like, "Good luck," because he's always injured, and that ended up being accurate, but when he was able to play, he was at least – honestly, he was a little less than average, in my opinion, but, he was somebody on the line. He was better than Adeniji. He was better than what we had otherwise at right tackle.
I think Irv has been more injury-plagued than injury-prone, so I don't necessarily look at his past and think, okay, this is just something that's going to happen every single year. And then I forget what year it was, but the year after Kyle Rudolph had his best season, I think it might have been 2017 or 2018. Was that the year he was drafted, Irv Smith?
Well, I know that he was the second option his rookie year, and he still had like 365 yards. 311 yards and 30-some catches. And then the next year he had 30-some catches. And he had like 365 yards and like 5 touchdowns.
Yeah.
But I think that was the year that they had cut Rudolph, was the second year. Because he was option 2 the first year.
Yeah.
It was also
I was just going to say, going into the second year, I remember, looking at him as a fantasy option, thinking that he would likely take over Kyle Rudolph's role. And then
I think he was.
Yeah, exactly. And I mean, I could definitely see him doing, kind of what Kyle did for Minnesota in those in that 3-year span. I think the 1 year Kyle had like 800 yards. Do I see something like that happening? No, just because he's not, that year Kyle, I think, was one of the only options.
And in this offense, right now, he is still the 4th or 5th option.
Yeah, but could he get 500-600 yards? Sure, absolutely.
Same thing Uzama and Hurst did. I could easily see him doing that.
I think it's also worth mentioning that he is still just 24 years old.
Yep.
Tight ends usually take 2 to 3 years to kind of blossom a little bit like offensive linemen as they get their play strength up. They develop better blocking technique, have better understanding of what you're asked and responsibilities to do as a full-time tight end. I definitely think you're getting a very high upside, low-risk player here for cheap. And obviously the deal is structured as such to protect themselves. They're getting the deal they got because of the injuries. So try not to count it twice against him. Obviously, you're not counting on him to necessarily just be the starter and hold it down every single snap. There's a reason that they're looking hard at tight ends. I definitely think they're going to add to that room. This is a 1-year contract, and if this year works out, that's wonderful. But you also still are going to plan for the future. So I definitely expect to see them add to that room in the first 3 or 4 rounds of the draft.
It's a 1-year contract. Joe Burrow's going to make him look fucking fantastic, and he's going to sign for 3 years, $27 million somewhere else.
That's the routine, right?
That's what Joe Burrow does. He makes tight ends.
Yeah, Evan. So my question to you is about tight end. I talked about this with Dale a lot. Obviously, if Michael Mayer's there, I'm on team Michael Mayer 100%. I have no problem waiting to the 2nd or 3rd round, but I'm just saying it just takes that one time where like 3 or 4 tight ends could easily go off the board in the 2nd round. I mean, Tucker Kraft, I've become a huge fan of. In my personal opinion, he's the 2nd best tight end behind Michael Mayer. A lot of people will definitely debate me over that, which I understand, but I'm just a big Tucker Kraft fan. I'm almost nervous he may not even be there in the second round. Would you agree with that?
I would be shocked if Kincaid, Mayer, like Luke Musgrave, Laporta, and Kraft were all off the board by the time the second round pick came around. There's a lot of really good defensive line talent, cornerback talent in this draft, more premium positions that teams might value more, that are teams that are trying to get cheaper at these premium positions. I think that's going to be something you see from a lot of these teams early. I definitely think that second round, because the tail end of the second round is almost the third round, right? So you got to kind of keep that in mind. And I agree with you. I love Kraft because it's a little scary sometimes, these small school guys, but you also need to look what they did to their competition. And he absolutely demolished the competition. And he was not only one of the best yards per route run efficiency tight ends. I think he was top 10 among all FBS and FCS tight ends in that metric. And as well as he was averaging over 7 yards after the catch per reception, which is just, he was almost impossible to bring down. So a guy who can take those checkdowns and be a threat with the ball in his hands after the catch, not just be a body catcher like Hayden Hurst was and just kind of get what's there, fight hard for an extra yard or two. He can really be a legitimate threat. So I like him. I think he has good enough athleticism to be a little bit of a threat up the middle, and he's still working on that too. I really like him, but if for God forbid that run did happen, I would not be upset with getting a guy like Kuntz in the 4th or 5th round whenever you might be able to get him and kind of take a chance on that athletic frame. Again, this is a position you're planning on developing anyway long-term, right? So taking a more athletic project at that, letting Irv maybe be the primary guy, mixing in Kuntz a little bit. I think you could have some interesting 12 personnel looks at that. So I'd definitely be interested in how they attack that. But I definitely think I'm with you where after that initial Musgrave, Laporta, Kraft, it's pretty much Kuntz and a bunch of guys who do 1 or 2 things well, but there's definitely question marks all over. So I understand definitely your desire to hit tight end early, and I would not hesitate if the run happens, like you said, and you're staring there, Tucker Kraft is the last tight end you feel good about in the second round. I think that'd be just fine. We actually, at the Right Way Sports Network on the State of the Jungle show, we had a live draft on Wednesday, and we ended up getting Kalijah Cansey to fall to us, which, I'll do my witch magic and whatever else I got to do to make that happen in real life. But we looped around in the second round, and we got Kraft because we felt comfortable about taking that tight end there.
Dale, did you have something to say there? Or?
Oh, I just got back. I was going
okay. I was just going to say, do you have any tier 1 tight ends, or are they all just basically tier 2, tier 3? Would you consider Michael Mayer a tier 1 guy, or?
Yeah, I would. And I definitely I don't want to be disrespectful to him because obviously he was the focal point of the Notre Dame offense, and everyone knew they were trying to go to him. And in spite of that, he still got over 2 yards route per run, which is crazy efficiency for a tight end. He doesn't have a lot of shake after the catch, but he still finds ways to just get creative with his angles, with his leans, and maximize what he can get. And he does everything well. And that's the thing, is like there's value in a guy who is already good at every aspect of the game. And even though he may not have the ceiling that some of these other more athletic guys do, I still think he's a very quality tight end. At 28, depending on what's there, I mean, if you've got a Darnell Wright staring you in the face, I would have a hard time picking him after that. And that's not to say anything about Michael Mayer. That's just to say some of these guys are more higher upside guys that you can get
positional value too,
right? Because when we look at the distribution of kind of hit rate, which is something that PFF looked really hard at in the last couple of years, the positions you can find in rounds 3, 4, 5 are running back, linebacker, defensive line on the interior. And the guys who are generally successes at quarterback, cornerback, defensive end, and tackle come from the first or second round, because that's where all the traits guys are drafted, right? And you have to have a baseline athleticism to play that position, which is why, there's so few tackles. There's just so few guys that have the size, the arm length, and the athleticism to play that position in an effective way in the NFL. So it's definitely it needs to be considered. Obviously, if you're just stacking a big board devoid of positional value, I completely understand having Mayer as a top 15, top 20 prospect and saying, hey, he's clean. What's your concern? You know, that he might have the highest end athleticism. Well, it didn't really hurt him. He can still find ways to get open and he can still do things after the catch. So
best contested catcher also, like, but I'm not banging the drum for him either because of the positional value thing. It's a real thing. And if you can get an offensive tackle, if you can get a corner, if you can get a pass rusher, if you can get those other positions, you take them, but it depends who's there.
Those are positions that the Bengals need to get cheaper at too, right? Because if you're going to pay Joe Burrow, T. Higgins, Jamar Chase, Logan Wilson, and Jermaine Pratt, and that's kind of going to be your core going forward, then you're definitely going to need to get cheaper at those premium positions that we talked about. Sam Hubbard and Trey Hendrickson, DJ Reader, all rapidly approaching 30, right? I think they're all like about 28 or going to be 28.
Yeah, we'll get to this DJ Reader conversation. We've been having it for a couple days, haven't we, Greg?
Oh my God. And Dale brings us Dale, I don't want to talk about this. Is like,
but I don't talk about potential cuts during season, but off season, even a year from now, that's when I'll talk about it. But I will not talk about it during the season. Same thing with draft. I won't talk about draft during the season, even though I have a whole draft board ready.
Right. No, Evan, he was putting me through the electric chair. I thought I was in the electric chair.
Hey, but here's one: taking Gibbs round 1, Laporta 2 in this mock draft. Now that's interesting because if Bijan was there, I do think he's that much of a talent that I would take him at 28. Gibbs, I don't think I could take him at 28.
I'm an Alabama fan, all right, and I still wouldn't take Gibbs at 28. Again, we just talked about positional value and how strong the tight end class. Well, the running back is worth even less. I'm sorry. Like, they're just more replaceable. That's not to say running backs aren't worth anything. It's just to say there's a lot of really talented athletes that can run well in a line. Like, that's just that. It's an unfortunate fact, right? There's a lot of really gifted athletes out there. And there's so many guys that you can get. We talked about tight end, maybe around second round, third round, you start to feel uncomfortable. There's guys in the fourth and fifth round.
I love this. I love this running back class.
Oh, my God.
But if Bijan, I want to go back to Bijan. If he was there at 28, he would be hard to pass for me personally because I would just run the wheels off of him for 5 years.
I can understand that mindset. I love that he obviously had the PFF record for broken tackles, which, again, if you're a running back, how do you add value outside of the play call, the blocking that you get? We saw Phillip Lindsay got over 1,000 yards as an undrafted free agent. Why? Because he averaged 4.5 yards before contact. So obviously there's a lot of different reasons that running backs are successful. And it's tough when you have a guy, and I don't want to bring this back to Mixon, but if you're talking about yards after contact, he was bottom 25% among 32 starters. If you're talking about missed tackles forced, he is like literally 31 next to Zeke for 32. Like, he's great at getting what's blocked, but he's just always that one little step away from breaking a tackle, from breaking a run. And you just see that efficiency start to dip. And we've seen this with even more successful, productive, talented backs like a Todd Gurley, like a David Johnson, guys who had more shake, more athleticism that just deteriorated very quickly as soon as you get that 28 range. And that's right what Mixon's on the cusp of. So taking a guy who can help even just ease the load for a little bit and keep him fresh, like a Tyjae Spears, dude was 4th in elusive rating in all of college football, 2nd in yards after contact.
Good blocker, good receiver
on gap runs. 93 grade on gap runs, elite grade, which is what the Bengals are doing now. And that's just, you talk about a guy like that who gives you the yards after contact, who breaks tackles, who is successful and proven in the Bengals scheme right now. I look at guys like that I can find later, and I just say, give me a Tyjae Spears in the 4th, or a Dwayne McBride in the 5th, or a
Chase Brown,
Izzy, in the 4th or 5th.
Yeah.
I mean,
you're speaking Dale and I's love language right now.
No, it's a sweet spot for running backs to me is 3rd and 5th. I would have a hard. I don't think Bijan gets to 28. I've been mocking him to Philly at 10.
Heck, I don't think he gets past Jerry, man. We know how Jerry loves his running backs. He doesn't have Zeke there anymore. I mean,
he's probably crying on.
they put him on the franchise tag? Do they want to have him, or do they say, hey, we'll ride him this year and then we'll ride Bijan for the next 4 years after that? Like, you know,
that makes me want. It makes me want to go back to Kansas because I don't think it gets past Dallas either. You know, if it's not a Bijan's gone.
Mm-hmm.
I think Dallas would take a Kansas. Like, I think there's a lot of teams because I feel like Bengal collective, Bengal Twitter, Bengal everything is going to be really upset when Kansas gets drafted before 28. Because I think everybody would be okay with that, if not ecstatic.
Yeah.
I would be ecstatic.
He's going to, you know what's going to happen, Dale? Who's the one player that you wanted last year?
Well, but that was different. Karlaftis, that's different to me. That's different. I don't think the Bill, like, I don't think the Bills would do that this year, like the Chiefs last year with Karlaftis.
Evan, my question to you is: say if they go offensive line, whether it's Jonah Wright or DeJuan Jones at 28, could you see the Bengals trying to trade Jonah Williams at all? Like maybe get I don't know about a second-round pick, but a third or a fourth-round pick if they go offensive line first round.
Absolutely, and I almost hope that they go. The ideal, I think, way the draft plays out is somehow Darnell Wright falls into their lap in round 1. You're not reaching on a need, but you fill an immediate need that you have. And
10-year right tackle in play.
Right. And then you're talking about every time I'm sure you guys do mock drafts, you're looking at the people available in the 3rd and 4th round, and you're just like, I want more picks. I want more picks. Like we talked about, the Bengals are trying to get younger, more athletic. They're trying to get cheaper, right? And the best way to do that is through the draft. So if you can trade Jonah in the draft after knowing that, you know, maybe it's something a little bit less exciting than a Darnell Wright, even if you add a guy in the 2nd or the 3rd round, maybe like a Matthew Bergeron in the 3rd or maybe the 2nd, depending on how people view him. It just, maybe you get a guy like a Cody Mock or a Blake Freeland in the 3rd that you feel good about. I
don't know. I'd feel good about like which Cody.
You don't feel good about that, right? That's the thing is outside of that, I don't even feel great about DeJuan Jones, really.
The concerns are real. That's why I've been very high on him this whole process. And like I said, I don't have any inside sources, but there's people that will just message me, and I don't know if they have sources or not. I don't know. But they say, hey, I heard from a guy that, you know, he's weighing over 400. You know, this.
If you've already got weight concerns and you've got a guy who also didn't test at Ohio State's Pro Day, very curious. That's all red flags that – if you're going to take these guys from these premium positions, you cannot have a Cedric Ogbuehi. It hurts you. It sets your franchise back for years. It can. So you're going to take these guys. That's why I struggle with a guy like Emmanuel Forbes. I've seen him all over the place. I've seen him a top 15 guy. I've seen him. Ben Solak didn't even have him in his top 40 that he released today. And it's one of those guys where it's a tough philosophical debate because you're like, he checks every box.
Production.
A giant red flag being in the 0th percentile for size. And it's just like, do you want to be the person who takes a shot on an outlier instead of going for and this is the thing though, if I take you to the gambling table and I say, hey, if you got an 80% chance on black and you got a 20% chance on red, are you going to go, man, I just really feel red. Like I like red. I really like that color. No, like taking the objective, we're going to go, I want to win. I want to hit on this, right?
Yeah.
We want to get good players. So it's hard to not say, oh, I've got my guy and I'm just going to take him in spite of everything. But the other side of that coin, if you don't hit, is Drew Sample. When you say, hey, this is a guy we love. Maybe the league values him in the 3rd or the 4th round, but we know he's going to be good. We know this guy is good, and getting in that certainty territory is dangerous. So that's kind of what I have with DeJuan Jones, with Emmanuel Forbes, where it makes me hesitant in the 1st round.
I just want to tell Crip, patience is a virtue, my brother. So, like, we do a lot of mock drafts around here on this show. We could get to one, but, you know, we got a lot of things to talk about before we get there. This is setting up for one. Come on now.
Well, let me ask Evan, how much weight do you think Forbes needs to put on to not be in that percentile, to be considered?
So he's like 166. I think he came to his pro day at 170. So probably, you know, had the dozen Krispy Kremes in the parking lot with the water and was, you know, slugging. But if you're telling me, you know, he can put on 10 pounds of muscle in the next 2 years, maybe it's something you feel better about. Obviously, his size didn't stand out as much on tape and in college, but you're talking about receivers who all of them are 6 foot plus. All of these guys, you're going to have to go up if you're going to play on the outside, especially if he's not going to be that slot safety hybrid kind of guy.
Yeah,
and you want to try and get that value and those ball skills in space. Then you're talking about he's going to be going up against guys who are 6'2", 6'3", and that's going to be a different level of physicality than I know he saw that a little bit in the SEC, but obviously there's a difference between doing it at the NFL level where all the guys are the best guys from college, right? That's just kind of what concerns me. But obviously his ball skills, he doesn't play small. He's a fierce tackler. He will shoot at people. It's just, again, it's do you want to take that chance in the first round? Middle of the second, I feel a lot better about it. But first round picks, you want to be able to say he tested well, he's not injured, his tape is good, I feel good about it. If you got
every single box.
Right, you at least want to feel like you have the best chance to hit on that pick.
I think it was Duke that it even said that, in the first round they want a guy that checks every single box that they have. Then in the second round he has 4 of the 5 things that they look for, and then the third round and so on and so forth. He said that, I forget what podcast he was the one talking about that, but it might have been HTPG, but I don't remember.
Either way, the point stands and makes sense, right? Yeah. Like you're drafting in the first round, you want a guy that, and that's I think right tackle wise, Darnell Wright fits that. I think tight end Michael Mayer fits that. I think
that's kind of your 2 or 3 right there is Mayer, not Jones, Wright, or if.
What about Deontay Banks if we're going corner? Because to me, I think Banks is.
You brought this up on Jeff's show, right?
I like Banks.
And I went back and I looked harder at him, and then he did the combine and he fucking blew it out of the water, right? And he went from me being maybe he's that early second round pick, like the Cam Smith spot right now, to the back end of the first, early second, to I don't know if he makes it past 20, 22. Telling me
I don't think he gets past the Vikings is where I've
oh yeah, that's a good match with you got their man scheme out. Yeah, no, I love that too with what they're shifting to. That's a good pick. I don't know, man. You know I love my corners, so I definitely think that corner is definitely a position you want to hit early. If you can't get it in the first, you want to try and hit it in the second to get those traits guys we talked about at a premium position. But this draft, there are some guys in the third and fourth round that you can feel, I think, good about having a chance to develop into a potential starter in a year or two, whether that's a Garrett Williams, where the Bengals say, hey, we've got Sidney Jones, we've got Chidobe, we've got Juice. Let's just give him a year to recover and just get up to speed, and then we can really play him. And maybe that's a guy who would have been a second rounder.
I knew when I went on Jeff's show with Evan, I was like, I love this man, and this is why, because he you know what you're talking about. Maybe I don't. I'm just as drunk like a piece of shit, but.
On a shitty podcast.
But the corners on a shitty podcast. But the corners, man, it's deep. Like Julius Prince.
Dude, that's my other guy. I love Julius. Man.
Even DJ Turner.
Fantastic arms. He stretched.
DJ Turner from Michigan with this 4.3 speed. And it is a deep class of corners. And that's why I'm I could easily. I don't want us to take one in round 1. And it's not because I don't think we should add one to the room. I think you can get a really good guy in the second or third round, even picking at the end of the round like we are.
Man, DJ Turner is projected to go in the third round, and I'm just why? The guy
it doesn't make sense, honestly.
Dude, if Brent's is there at the pick circling around I'm saying, dude, go get Lewis, 6'3", 200 guy who absolutely has crazy vertical and broad. He was 99th percentile in wingspan, so has absolute vines, 99th percentile in broad jump, and 96 in vertical, which lends itself to prove that he has explosion despite being a bigger corner. And you're talking about, okay, this guy's a bigger corner. How are his movement skills? He had a 6.63 second 3 cone, which ranks 93rd percentile despite being 6'3", 200. So you're talking about a guy who is big and can move. And sure, on some of the quick breaking routes, like maybe comebacks with some of the more sudden receivers, he's not quite there. But you're talking about a guy who can disrupt the timing of a play and the passing concepts and really just get your hands into somebody and latch on and use that crazy size to direct in traffic. I think he's a great guy that you could have there. And then there's a guy like Riley Moss that comes down later. You've got
I was also going to say, hold on, let me throw in one.
Yeah, go ahead.
So you can say Riley Moss, and I'll say Darius Rush.
Darius Rush, another 3rd round, 4th round potential target. Yeah.
I mean, Corian Bennett from Maryland that ran great. That's Deontay Banks' teammate. Like,
yeah,
I'm telling you, I like the corner class. Like, our needs, honestly, mostly line up.
They do, man. That's the great thing. Running back, tight end, corner, like these are guys that you can get for the future. And I will continue to just pound the table for getting more corners because, again, the only guys under contract after this season, Mike Hilton, who will be 30, and Cam Taylor-Britt. So if you are keeping Mike Hilton, which we saw how Kansas City picked on him in the championship, he's getting another year older at a position that it's hard to be physically high end at, and he does a lot of the dirty work down there in the middle. Maybe we see a little bit of drop off, and if that happens, and you suddenly have Cam Taylor-Britt and Jalen Davis as your only corners on the roster, I just can't see a world where they walk around without a corner in the first 5 rounds of this draft.
Yeah, for sure. Evan, I don't want it to be a 1st round need. Go ahead, guys. Sorry, me and Evan was so in love.
We start talking corners, man. And
yesterday in the draft process, your one co-host was not too happy with the fact that you guys passed on this guy, Kay Valentine, and all that. And so, tell me about this guy. But now,
he went to the Browns. Yeah,
I know. One buddy of ours, Cincy James, who's a diehard UK Wildcats fan, I'm sure it would just love to have him, obviously. But tell me about this guy Valentine. He's just climbing up the draft charts.
Oh, yeah, absolutely. So Carrington Valentine is who you're talking about. He's a Cincinnati product. John Sheeran actually just had a nice article for A to Z Sports. Shout out to him for joining us the other night. Please go support his work. He pointed out that you got a guy who's tested like a great athlete here, 9.2 out of 10 on the relative athletic score. His solo tackle market share, which is basically how many tackles he got of the available tackles in the defense, is up in the 95th percentile. So you get a guy who is that high motor tackler who offers you a lot in the run game. And then you look at his production in the passing game too, and his ball skills. He had a pass deflection market share just below the 84th percentile. So you've got a guy who tested as a really good athlete, who's played the ball well, who's played the run well. And I think you're starting to see people had him, I think, in like the 5th and 6th early to start this process. It'd be interesting to see. Shout out to Benjamin Robinson, who does grinding the mocks and kind of plots over the gradual time of draft season, kind of plots how people have changed in both analyst and fan mocks. And I would be interested to see how that looks, because I bet you'd see in the 5th and 6th round to start, and you'd see that start trending up because there's a lot of people talking about him. I know he's got a lot of visits going around right now. I think he could be someone that you see start to rise into that maybe 4th, tail end of 3rd round conversation.
Yeah. Your co-host Malik was not too happy.
See, that's the thing is he asked myself and John and Logan, and we all said we like him, but we think we can wait around. And sure enough, 2 picks later, he goes. I was like, well. And we argued a little bit talking about, that was an example, I thought, in a good teaching moment, like we talked about earlier, where it's easy to say, we know this guy's going to be good. I'm willing to bet on him right now. But you also have to keep in mind part of the reason that you get so much smokescreen, right? And you wonder, why does it matter so much? Why do they keep trying to do smokescreen stuff? And it's like, well, because they don't want you to know those needs, because they don't want you to know how they value each player. Because then let's say the Bengals did really love Drew Sample, but knew and were paying attention and said, hey, we know the rest of the league doesn't value him until the 4th round. We can wait until the 3rd and get him there. It's part of playing the game, because obviously you don't want to focus solely on value and say, hey, let's pick quarterback every pick because it's so valuable, but there does need to be that balance. And I think that's a good kind of exercise. And sometimes you miss out on your guy. Sometimes he goes 10, 15, 20 picks after you, because it only takes one team. But I think you do have to be willing to miss out on some guys, because we've seen it. Mm-hmm. Seattle had the out of the park draft class back in 2012. The Saints had theirs in 2017. What have they done after that? It's when we look at it, drafting is such a crapshoot. It really is almost a 50-50 perspective. And some years you hit and some years you don't. And it's really the funny thing is when Arif Hassan of The Athletic puts together his collective consensus big board, you actually get something that is as predictive, if not better, than a lot of scouting departments. And that makes sense because you think if you get more opinions, you're getting less groupthink, you're getting less guys who they're saying these are our guys and paying attention to all that. So you're filtering out that maybe personal valuation where you fall in love with a guy, right? So the more opinions you get in, just like with a sample on a PFF grade, a guy who plays 3,000 snaps is going to have a better sample or a more accurate picture of what he is versus a guy who played 200 snaps, right? Mm-hmm. So it's just getting more opinions in there and trying to get a better baseline. So that's always something to consider when it's easy to say, I love this guy. I know he's going to be good. Sometimes even I have to swallow my pride and say, hey, like, I think he's going to be good, right? I really think, and here's the reasons why, right? So that's just something that I think about when we talk about positional value.
Now, speaking of UK, and I just looked it up, last year's was on the 19th of April, so it's coming up here soon, hopefully. But does anybody know when the local pro day is going to be? Have they announced the date for that? Or
I have not heard anything on that. Have you guys?
No.
Yeah, I hadn't seen it yet either, but that was what was making me think of that. And while I was looking that up, I did see that the Bengals were in fact at UK's pro day, and obviously they weren't there to watch Will Levis. So,
yeah,
it'd be interesting to see.
How about those Will Levis gym lighting shots that he had the other day? Man,
that looks. I thought that was a WWE wrestler or something.
Thought you had to check and see if they use like Pick GPT or one of those AI things out there to try and dress it up a little bit.
Right.
Oh man.
Yeah.
Well, let's talk about defensive tackle a little bit. And like Kalijah Cansey, like where you think he would go potentially, and then when we were talking about does the player check every box for the Bengals? Is that one reason why you could see the Bengals potentially not looking at him because of his size? Or
I don't think so. His arms are a little bit shorter, and he is going to be a little bit shorter. But on the interior, that leverage can kind of lend itself to stronger plays. You got that natural leverage. You don't have to worry so much about pad level. And he might struggle a little bit against those guys with length, but generally you're going to line up against those guards on the interior that have those shorter arms anyways. And with how sudden he is, it might be tough for a lot of guys on the interior to really use that length to their advantage. He might be in your chest before you're ready to get your arms all the way extended and where you need to be. So if he falls that far, I remember Chris Traprezo put out a mock just before the combine, and he must have been hearing things because he had Kalijah Cansey all the way up at 5 to Seattle. So I don't think he goes that high. I think he's much more apt to go somewhere in the teens. But he's a guy like Nolan Smith, where I've seen him go as high as 10 and 13 and drop all the way to 28. I have no clue where these guys are going to go. These kind of tweeners and hybrids we talked about, the NFL kind of has different values of obviously what fits into their scheme and what they can utilize. If you're running the 4-3, you're probably not going to be looking hard at Nolan Smith in the first round. You might let someone else take that swing. But again, it only takes one person like the Eagles to say, hey, at least I see a lot of Hassan Reddick and Nolan Smith. Let's go ahead and just take that right now and go ahead and just run with it. So I definitely think if he was going to fall to the Bengals, I think you just take that position need meets valuable pass rusher, meets a guy you didn't expect to be there. And I think a lot of that all meshes together there well too. If there's not a Darnell right there, I think he's my second favorite as a pick for the Bengals there.
But that goes back, for me, to, I think he goes. I think somebody's going to take him before us, unfortunately. I think we'd all be happy if we got him. Is there any other D tackles for you, Evan?
That's what I was about to ask.
And I don't know. After that, it's honestly like Mozzie Smith, and I like Mozzie, but I don't think I'd take him at 28.
Right.
So feelings on that.
Yeah, this is definitely one of those positions that you either kind of get one of those first couple round guys, or you kind of wait until maybe rounds 5 or 6 and take one of those really athletic kind of upside project guys. Because there's a lot of like really athletic defensive tackles in this draft. So you can take a shot on a guy who maybe didn't have the production, but has the athleticism. And
I'd take a Carl Brooks in the 3rd round.
Carl Brooks is a guy who can kick inside and play there and play at that 3-tech spot. You've got a guy like a Javon Dexter, who I've heard that the Bengals are interested in.
No,
I know.
It's controversial for me. Me and draft guy Jared he's really high on him, and I'm like, I'm not, for the reasons of the production doesn't match what he should be.
Right.
Mm-hmm.
And how much of that was Florida's defense was terrible, and how much of that was interest in playing, because we saw guys like at LSU check out right when things are not going well, which is unfortunate.
But that scares me when you're 6'6", 310, and you're
well. That's why we're talking about him in the 4th round, right? As you're 6'6", 310 with burst and get off.
Okay, these guys are talking about him in the 2nd.
Oh God, no, God, no.
The earliest I think about him is the 3rd.
No, but if you were to take a guy like a guy late, like a Jalen Redmond, who tested like a great athlete but doesn't necessarily have that production, that's a guy you can get later. If you're talking about a guy in the middle rounds, like a maybe Keandre Coburn from Texas, I could get on board with that, or Moro Ajomo as well. I'd be interested in them in like the 2, maybe the middle rounds, like 3 or 4. I think those could be some interesting spots to kind of target those guys.
Sarah, that's called being monetized.
We got to get that money, baby.
I mean, that's your own wife, Derek.
Got to pay for all the beer and whiskey you guys are drinking on the show, right?
Exactly.
She better get on Amazon, start ordering some shit up.
Yeah.
I mean, Dale's going 5 days a week, so we're in the hole on our beer and liquor.
Yeah.
I'm way in the hole on that. I ain't never going to catch up on that. But should I bill you, Derek? Who should I bill for that?
Oh, man.
Originally, this was your channel when you were just the Orange Arrow.
So we're going with that now.
Orange Arrow fantasy, and look what we've built.
Yep. I'll tell you what. Keep an inventory, and then we'll look at it at the end of the year. How about that?
You owe me a lot of hand jobs.
That's good. Yeah. You're gonna get fucking carpal tunnel with those hand jobs.
Yeah. But
already there.
I have a serious question though.
Yeah.
With Jonah Williams, obviously, when do you think he gets traded? Do you think he gets traded before the draft? Like, do you hope he's our right tackle, or do you hope they get a right tackle in the draft?
Can I say first when I think he gets traded?
Yeah.
I think he gets traded if we get right tackle.
That's exactly where I was going to go, is if you get a guy you feel confident in, right? If you get one of those 3rd round options, like a Blake Freeland or like or if you're talking about like a guy like Burgeons that you maybe don't feel as confident about off the jump, you don't want to throw him out there right away, then I can completely understand that. I really think if they get Darnell in the 1st, they might have calls on day 2 for a 3rd or 4th round pick. And I think if they get a 3rd round pick, I think maybe they take that at that point with a bird in the hand, supposedly, right? As opposed to just kind of rolling out. Does Lyle Collins or Jonah Williams or Cody Ford all work out at this spot? We don't want to do Akeem Adeniji again. But I move up to secure right.
I was going to say my thoughts on that are it depends on how you're doing it.
Like our thoughts are going to be different than the Bengals thoughts.
If you can throw a player, if you can throw a player in to potentially move up 5 or 6 spots, like if it's a guy, something like that, where you're not giving up those, because we've only got 7 picks right now.
That's the thing, is I don't want to give up assets in a draft where you really want to take a lot of these swings on the 3rd, 4th round, where there will be very athletic defensive linemen. There will be corners who can legitimately start for you next year. These are positions, like you said, that if you're going to be paying both Logan Wilson and Jermaine Pratt, you're going to have a hard time paying starting corners $10, $12 million to come and play for you. And if you want a really good one, it's going to cost you a lot more than that. So Lou Anarumo, unfortunately, is not going to be there forever. You can't rely on him to just turn these guys into gold every single off the scrap heap. It's working right now, but you definitely want to get some guys in there. I would be hesitant to do any type of trade up unless they had something they knew they had in the hand for Jonah, where they said, hey, we're about to give up a 3rd round pick, but we're about to move up in the 3rd round anyways and get a higher pick because we're about to move Jonah. So over that. Like, if we can move up 2 or 3 spots for a 3rd round pick, maybe. I don't know. It depends on who's on the board. If you've got a lot of the tight ends or not the tight ends, just general prospects that you really liked go off the board early, and you feel like, man, like he's the last one we really like have a 1st round grade on until pick 40, right? Then maybe they consider that. But I really think giving up assets, making a trade, the Bengals are not very active in terms of seeking out trades. You have to call the Bengals, and you have to have a good first offer.
Shit, you got to do that in free agency too, Evan.
Yeah.
We're all very happy they got Orlando Brown, but that is still a slight concern for me. I was like, man, they had to call the Bengals for them to even. me and the Iceman have said we would for free be their like caller. We'll call. We'll make calls for you. We'll
call free. Agent. Call 1-800-ALT-MAN.
Yeah, and be like, hey, is your client interested? I mean, I can't guarantee you no money right now, but we can talk. If things don't work out, get back with me. I want you to know we're interested.
Yeah. Speaking of players, Evan, I think I've made it pretty clear on social media that I want Zeke Elliott and all that and stuff. And my question, I'm being serious. I don't want Zeke Elliott running back. Wouldn't he be a great replacement for P. Ryan, like on 3rd downs as a pass catcher, but more importantly, as a blocking running back?
Yes, but I mentioned earlier about how he's not offering you much in terms of elusiveness right now. He just does not have the juice that he had coming out. And I really struggle to see, after bringing back Travion Williams, with Chris Evans on the roster, with arguably being in position to draft a running back, with how much work they've been doing on the class and the strength of this class as well. We talked about getting cheaper positions. That's a really good way to just shed $10, $11 million of difference in the next year or so. I struggle to see them adding a veteran on top of the Joe Mixon contract. So I would say a signing like Zeke is contingent on a potential Joe Mixon cut, or not restructure, but renegotiation, right? Because those are 2 different things.
Basically pay cut.
Right. It's pay cut or bust, right? And we saw Aaron Jones
restructure, but I'm like, I know restructure is the wrong word because that's kicking the can down the road.
Yeah, you don't want to do that because that increases the dead cap the next year or 2, which is definitely what you don't want to do.
Hey, can I just say something real quick? We got 47 people watching right now. Everybody go out and share that we're live. If we get to 50 people watching, 48 now.
Can titties? We're gonna get can titties?
No, that ain't gonna happen. But if we can get to 48 people, or 48, if we can get to 50 viewers, I will give away a Bengals and Brews koozie. How about that?
Yeah.
Shit, does anybody want that?
I mean, you got that one. Hey, I got a couple OGs left. Too.
You should probably send one to Evan. He's the only reason people are tuning in.
Well, I mean,
my beer's naked over here.
Oh no, this is X-rated. We got naked beers. No, I'll definitely be sending Evan one for sure. We're getting ready to produce another batch out, so we'll let everybody know, what colors we decide on. Maybe we'll go white because everybody wants a dirty koozie.
This is what would make 0 millions, by the way, because anytime we're like close to making money, we're like, let's just
give some stuff away.
Yeah.
Everybody's getting on their other accounts now. Just hit 50. 50. Everybody that has like 6 accounts are all getting on their different ones and watching us live. But
I'm surprised anyone would want a koozie.
Hey, everybody that's in here, comment. You know what? How do you want to do the giveaway?
What?
You want to do?
I don't know. What's my fucking idea, Derek?
Let's do a trivia question, a Bengals trivia.
Uh-oh.
But you guys keep talking real quick. Hey, one real quick thing on Zeke. I think the whole reason why I'm out on him is because he's got like 800,000 touches on his career. So I'm just kind of leaning away from that. But I'll go in the background and find us a good.
If you get a guy like a Dwayne McBride, right, who maybe – so the thing with McBride is he was a great runner in college, but you get a guy who I think he had 10 targets total in an entire season, his most recent season. So you don't really know what you have in the passing game there. It just wasn't something he was asked to do. It's not a role that he really sustained for that offense. If they move on from Mixon, draft a Dwayne McBride, and then sign a Zeke for $2, $3, $4 million, that's a great spot to be in because you still got cheaper there. You get that veteran presence that you can trust as a pass blocker while you bring a rookie along and start to develop him a little bit. So,
and I do like. I want to ask you about a couple running backs while we're talking about them because I know we talked about several already, but Sean Tucker and Tank Bigsby are two guys that I'm like.
If you're looking for just like a guy you feel really confident about, that maybe he doesn't have the like super high end traits, but just has the production, it's Tank Bigsby, man. Like he's absolutely crazy. I think he was averaging like 5.5 yards per attempt, and 4.1 of them were coming after contact. Like, dude is just unable to. He is literally a tank. So that's a guy you can feel confident. He's kind of like the Dwayne McBride, where you don't feel confident about him being very involved in the passing game right now, but maybe that's something that you can bring him along on a little bit to get him kind of get him there. He was obviously kind of up and down in that Auburn offense, but that was really just a terrible, terrible offensive line blocking for him. So between that and like his long speed not quite being there, I mean, that's definitely a guy that you might be able to get in the 4th or 5th round that it's like, dude, I could plug and play this guy and give him 15 carries a game on the obvious rundowns. And I know he's going to use his size well to run through people and get more than what's blocked for him.
And then Tucker, I think, had an absolute beast of a pro day recently.
Yeah, I know that's a guy who absolutely has the speed, and it's one of those juice guys, right, which they haven't quite had, but he's still got good size, right? So he's still 5'9", 207, still just 21 years old, and that's definitely, again, these are guys who are going in the later rounds because they don't have that passing game upside at present, but again, these are good athletes, and these guys are all 20, 21 years old, and there's still room to grow for them, both athletically and technically speaking, as receivers, as pass blockers.
Look at Derek coming in with that fucking smirk like he has a really good fucking.
No, I got a great one, and it's draft related. So y'all ready?
Yeah.
All right.
So it's just what we see first in the chat.
Yep. And first one in the chat. So everybody get your trigger fingers ready. What player did the Bengals select with the number 1 overall pick in the 1995 NFL draft?
Big Daddy Dan Wilkinson. Like, that's a stupid fucking question.
Is it?
Yeah, it's super easy. I just named it, like, right away.
Let's see.
That's what you
It's wrong, bitch.
It's wrong?
Yeah.
Jonah
it's Jonah. Okay.
We're not asking you guys, damn it. All right. You guys.
Hey, Evan, I got to ask.
You guys aren't supposed to answer the questions, by the way. I should have said that beforehand.
I know, but you got to come up with a better question.
Yeah. Evan,
you got it wrong the first time.
Yeah, but I was close.
Greg, what were you saying there, bud?
No, this is a serious question. Mm-hmm. If this one player is really good, but none of his teammates came to his birthday party, would that upset you?
Oh, God. You're in the damn draft day movie.
You know I had to go with that draft day question. I mean, seriously, what if you found out this guy was like super good, everything all around, but none of his teammates came to his birthday party? Would that be a red flag in your opinion?
I think the professional scouting term for that is actually Kyrie Irving syndrome. But no, it's not maybe something you want to do your homework on, but hey, some guys are just different, man. Some guys are just introverted. So maybe he's just a quiet guy who just, one of those guys who just, hey, I live and breathe football, and I go home and, I'm Jamal Williams. I go home and watch anime, which like, hey, anime bangs. Like, I'm cool with that. Like 100%.
I'm all about ball.
There you go.
I've heard that about Burrow, right? Like, there's been stuff I've heard where
sometimes boring is good for a personality for a football player. If he just plays football and then just goes home and is just your average good guy, it's a lot more than you can ask for some people that are floating around the league. So I don't think that's something that you may be necessarily.
Look at stranger like he was gonna say. Sorry, man. I don't know.
All right, so I've got another one.
Was Big Daddy 94? In 94. All right, so no cheating this time. No cheating.
Yep, and nobody answered on the group here. So we've only got 45 viewers now. Do we wait till we get back up to 50 again, or is it just is who it is?
Oh, I fucking signed off. One of them was me.
Do I need to sign in too? We got to sign in.
I'll fucking sign in again real quick.
I'm trying to make it somewhat easy. but somewhat difficult.
It should be difficult.
Well,
You were like,
we're already an hour in.
Overall pick.
Which player holds the team record for punts returns for touchdowns?
Pac-Man.
Oh, Tom got it already. Or no. Yep.
What?
Tom's on the ball, man.
Damn, Tom.
Or no, that was the last one. That was the last one. My bad.
Yeah, I'm like,
I'm still thinking about that one in my head, and everything just
talking about. He didn't even.
Jerome said Pac-Man, and so did Crip.
That one's not it. I've got the name. I've got it in my
Greg
head
already
now.
said it too, even though he wasn't supposed to say anything.
Oh no.
I think I know who it is.
Yeah, if you want to guess, Greg, you got to get in the fucking chat and guess.
I'm not doing it.
In the meantime, while we're waiting for a right answer, I got a little quick trivia question for you
It's the guy
guys.
from the 70s, right? It's the guy from the 70 era. Yeah.
All right. So in October of 2013, there was a Bengals player who scored 5 touchdowns. Who was it?
Brandon Tate.
What?
Player that scored 5 touchdowns?
5 touchdowns.
Keith got it right there. Keith
in
Brewer is the first
2013?
one.
Yes, in 2013.
That's what I said in the 70s. That's who
Marvin
I was going to
Jones.
say.
It was Marvin Jones. You are correct.
Oh, in one game. Okay. Yep. I remember that now. He had a 5 touchdown game.
Or sorry, he had 4. I apologize. It was Dalton who had 5. I messed up the trivia question too. Me and Derek.
Oh my God! Dude, what the hell? I was like,
I'm sitting there thinking, like, okay, how many players did we have score 5 touchdowns in the 2013 season?
Honestly, man, that's just Marvin Jones, Mohamed Sanu, AJ Green. Like, that was just such a fun receiving core, man.
Oh yeah.
Mhm.
But Evan, wasn't it that Jets game where he scored 5 touchdowns?
I believe it was the Jets game, or was it the Lions? I can't remember. Let me check.
I forget, but yeah, it was at that Jets game where he was just tearing it up. I mean, we were just going up against Geno Smith, and
I think it was the Lions. I think it might have been against the Lions. Now that I'm thinking about it, or maybe that was his
No, it was the
touchdown.
Jets. It was the Jets.
He had a 4
but
touchdown
he did
game
have a 4
for the
touchdown
Lions.
game with the Lions, man.
Yeah.
Marvin Jones, man, good for him. He's back with the Lions now.
Yeah.
I was going to say, he just got another contract with the Lions.
Good for him, man. He deserves it.
Keith, DM me personally, and I will at Orange Arrow for something like that. I don't know.
I don't even know his own name.
Yeah, but
you'll find it.
I'll get that shipped out to you. And let me know, do you want the orange one or do you want the OG? Does anybody have the OG on hand?
I got the orange.
This one?
Yeah, there's the OG. It's got the subtle flex in the side with Clarky.
Greg got them both. Look, Greg collecting our Greg, you got. I don't even have both of them.
Hey, wait a minute, though. I had one
point.
custom made with my name on it. I had one custom made.
He's like, I ain't giving you guys no money.
Bengals and Bruins. Because you guys don't have the ones for the women drink, so I had to get one for the women drink.
Yeah, we need to work on that just for you, poor chop.
Should.
Thank you.
Should.
I think we got like 3 female viewers, but
one of them's Derek's wife.
Yeah.
Well, and one of them's you.
And she drinks.
Oh yeah, it is. That's right.
I was gonna say, and she drinks Keystone, so
by choice.
No, it's $13 a freaking.
Yeah. Derek's got the expensive bourbon.
Yeah.
And he says to his wife, he says, here's Keystone.
Just a fucking Keystone.
You can't have anything other than
Keystone said it's good, right?
Not by choice.
She said not by choice. You just heard
it.
I'm a Miller girl.
I know you are a Miller girl. I would get you Miller if you were my girl. Sarah, come live with me and Marissa. We'll treat you right. You don't need Derek.
Nobody
the glasses come off.
No, they're starting to fog up. It's getting hot in here for some reason.
Getting fogged up.
Well, you guys want to do a real quick mock draft, or what are you thinking?
We might as well, right?
Why not?
We're asking for it.
I said real quick, and she laughed. She knows how.
Did she pull her titties out like the other day?
No.
Like last time you came on the show, she pulled her titties out, and you were out. You were out.
I'm delayed over here.
She's delayed. She was laughing at you saying, "Come live with you and Marissa."
But as soon as she pulled her titties out last time, you were like, "Oh,
I was like, gotta go."
Show was over like that.
Yep. Mm-hmm.
Next thing you know, you see fucking Houday baby. It's time.
Shout out Sean, man.
Shout out Sean, absolutely.
Oh man, he is the best of the fan base, honestly.
Speaking of Sean, Evan, are you going to any away games this year?
We will. I'll be going with Malik. We're probably going to go to Nashville for the Titans game. We're talking about going to San Francisco for the 49ers game. We're going to be around a little bit, and we're also planning on having some live events and meet and greets and kind of group fan watch experience for some of the away games at places like maybe Smoke Justice. So we're working on that stuff right now and hope to have quite a few different events and maybe something upcoming for the draft too.
Well, Evan, you deserve all the success, man, because you're you know your shit, dude. Like,
I appreciate it, guys, man. I just love talking ball like you guys, man. I tell you, don't sell yourself short, man. You put a lot of work into your scouting. You paid a lot of work into watching your film and putting your rankings together.
I don't. I know I wake up and I pick excellence, Evan.
I know I'm amazing. I'm talking about these other guys.
Yeah, I'm just trying to give you your credit as well.
I appreciate it. I do.
Hey, Derek, I thought you were pulling up a mock draft.
I thought you were.
Hey, Evan,
God, I got to do everything around here. I do shows, 18 shows a week, Derek. But fine, I'll pull up a mock draft.
I looked at your fingers and they were moving.
You sit there and look fucking pretty, okay? You're real good at it.
Everybody's got their role, right? He's face from the A-team, you know?
That's it. It motherfucker look more like Murdoch, though.
Yeah.
This guy.
Greg, were you going to ask something?
I was going to say, man, keep doing what you're doing, man. I mean, I enjoy watching that show. You guys keep up what you're doing, man.
We appreciate your support, man. We're really trying to do a lot of different kind of dynamic things that try to bring the fan into the experience, and we want to meet and interact with everybody who supports us, man. Because you guys know it's a lot of work to do this, and the fans that you do have that join you, man, it means the world. So shout out to everyone here in the chat. Keep supporting these guys. It takes a lot out of you to finish your job for the day and then come out here and do a bunch of work and prep and then have a show. So shout out to all these guys, man, for doing that repeatedly outside of their own.
Oh, you got it already?
Hey, Evan, what do you think the chances are that Tennessee game goes overseas?
I don't know, man.
I want to go to that one.
They might I might not be able to go to. Yeah. I don't know unless Malik and First Star want to pay for a passport and for my flight over there. But no,
they are the logistics specialists. So
Derek,
right. They would be great. Maybe they just put me in a box and ship me over there or something, and that'd be a lot cheaper.
Yeah, she's saying I'm good at looking pretty, and that's about it.
She must have had about a case of them fucking Keystones already.
What do you think I buy them for?
I could move down one spot and get a 5th round pick. I would take that in real life, but
yeah.
Will Levis.
Oh my God!
What the hell?
This is too easy. It's too easy when Kansas available.
Do it.
The board for this website, we used it the other night, and it can get a little funky sometimes, man. We had I think it was Will Levis went to like the Eagles or something. Or
he's still available.
It's a little odd.
Normally, it's. I mean, up until recently, it's been pretty well. Mm-hmm. It's crazy because
it's supposed to be the consensus board is what it's supposed to be. Like
when you clicked on tight ends, did it say that the number one tight end still left was Darnell Washington?
Yeah, it sure does. Poor child.
Well, there was a fucking run on them.
Evan, this guy would probably donate $1 million or something if we got Darnell Washington to the Bengals himself or something.
In the first round or in the second round?
First round.
Well, first I got to hit the fucking lottery, Greg, if I'm donating $1 million.
No, even Poor Chop has said he knows.
Second round, yeah. I mean, I'm in love with that guy, man. I swear to God.
I think I think it's too obvious here.
Well, it's because you zoomed in on his crotch when he caught that one ball at the combine. Right. And he was like this. And then you literally sent the picture, zoomed in on his crotch. And
he's got a sweet-ass package, man.
I
don't know there's anything else.
Hey, got to have some sand in the pants if you want to be a good blocker in the NFL, right?
Right.
So in this draft, Bijan just went to the Bills, which I think that would be real life. If he fell that far, the Bills would be done not to take him.
Yeah.
But Kansas, that's a dream come true. So
I think that's the easy pick as much as, you try to have a little bit of conversation. But I think that's just an easy pick staring you in the face.
Yeah, you got to take it,
On the offensive side, man, you got Joe Burrow. He's going to fucking ball out and make everybody look good. We need something on the defense.
Right.
Yep.
Oh, my God.
Oh, my God.
Come on, man.
Warrior is the best available still.
Hey, like I said, Joe Burrow's on the offense, man. Fucking grab him up.
What's that tackle situation look like? Because if you don't grab one now or the next round, you might not be grabbing one.
Dude, go
Make
for
Jones
it.
play.
Doesn't look good.
Ooh. Oh.
I don't like Jalen Duncan. He had a terrible season.
In the second round, too, no. I feel like it's too early for him or Freeland.
I agree. Like, that is, yeah.
So then what are you looking at tight end? Is that
Wide
is that
receiver,
run?
no,
Is that
interior.
going on?
I actually like the interior line. Like, the linemen here are good on the interior.
You know what? I think somebody asked this earlier.
Corner
round-
Julius Brent.
Oh,
There's
Brent.
my guy.
Tight
What
end
round do you
Laporta
see-
and Kraft.
Oh,
Laporta and
crap.
See, this is where I was thinking because we talked
Trade
about
back.
how deep the corner class is. Is
I
that
could see it.
do you want to take that swing on tight end early and get one of your guys right here?
No,
I like
wait till
Kraft. That's it. You guys know me. I'm going to go Kraft.
See, this is where I know we're not trading back here, but I would definitely
Okay, so
trade back.
Charbonnet didn't even fall to be mentioned for running backs.
What about safety?
I feel like it's too early.
Audubon Warrior is just like, he should not be here.
That's my guy.
Upsets me.
Neither should have Cansey, though.
I kind of like corner or tight end here, man. After you went D-line first round, I feel like
I
running
agree.
back can wait. I feel like you can still get some quality safeties and other
It's
interior
between
players.
Julius Brents, honestly, of the corners, too.
I love
And
Brents.
Laporta and Kraft. Like,
I could be
it's
talked
Brent.
into either of those tight ends, but I love Brents. You know,
Let's
I do.
go. Yeah. I was going to say my vote's on Brent's here.
Let's get a fucking corner then, man.
I'll be
Pick him up
okay
and
with
juice.
this. You know how it pains me, but let's go Brent.
Now, after that, since is that who we're picking?
Yeah,
Joe?
let's
Okay.
roll with it.
I want to ask you real quick because I know somebody asked in the chat earlier and I forgot to put it up there. How late do you see a guy like Josh Wiley falling?
Man, he could be like a 5th or 6th round tight end. I mean, he obviously offers you a little bit as a pass catcher, but what's really concerning is he was a really putrid contested catch guy. And that could also, when the linebackers get faster and you're playing against a guy like Fred Warner and in the NFL, he might have a little bit more trouble separating. And that consistency of the catch point is really kind of concerning for a guy who's got a generally bigger frame.
Tucker Kraft's still there in the
He's
third
still there.
round.
That's a home run pick right there.
Dude,
Well,
Evan, you and I
was
both
gonna
know. No, don't think, just take.
Greg, once
You got to
again,
talk about it. You got to.
No, we're not talking about it. No,
Greg,
talk.
if we don't talk
Greg,
about
we
it,
just
people
had
in
this
the
conversation yesterday.
I don't care.
people
You
in
guys
the
are-
chat got to catch up.
You
to
guys
it
are
and
really
just
going to
select
make
them
me
every
cry,
time.
aren't you?
Listen, I like the running back a chain, especially in the third round. He's small,
Nobody's
but
even
he's
talking about
explosive.
my guy.
I don't care about Sidney Brown.
I'm getting there. Linebacker Henley. I love Henley. He was a former safety, Washington State. But we don't need a linebacker bringing back Pratt. Sidney
I feel like
Brown,
there's still plenty of good
Derek
running
Scott.
back options. Obviously, Kane is a talented player, lots of explosion, good receiver. A little bit undersized, though. The question is whether he's going to be that full-time back for you. And if you've got questions about how big his role is going to be, I feel like taking him here in the third round when you've got Tucker Kraft staring at you.
Yeah. What's on the board? Even guys like Luke Whippler, he would be center number 1 in a lot of drafts.
Yeah.
Battle's good. Duncan here, I maybe would take, but I mean, come on. All right, we're just taking Kraft.
Thank you.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Salvation, validation, all the things.
I mean,
Thank you.
Greg, calm down. Put your Peter away, okay?
Yeah, right.
I wouldn't have, but that's just my personal opinion. I am emphatically in love. I am emphatically in love with Sidney Brown in the third round.
Yes, and you loved Dax Hill last year.
It's just real tough with Hill already being there, with how they like Tyson Anderson, with bringing in Scott. I struggle to draft a 4th safety in the third round that might not be the guy who fills in for a year or 2 yet.
I like his
tackle
position
is,
versatility.
to me, I'm
He's
not
good.
taking the
He
tackle
is.
here. I'm not taking tackle here.
I kind of like waiting here and maybe trying to circle back in round 5 or 6 and get a Warren McClendon, man. That's a guy who's got that right tackle experience and an SEC program and held his own. It's not an exciting pick, but he's kind of my Richmond or poor man's Burgeons just later in the draft.
To me,
I could go Chase Brown here.
This is
I know
a
it's
spot
my
for
guy's
running
brother,
back.
but-
As you see, 4 of them
Yeah.
are suggested.
Yep.
Sean
Okay.
Tucker, Chase Brown, Eric Gray, and Izzy.
Now, let me ask, can we scroll down a little bit and see if guys like Keaton Mitchell, Tyjae Spears, McBride are still there? Because
Spears
those
are gone.
guys
Spears is gone. He would have been at the top.
Okay.
I do want to say real quick shout out
there.
My brother or my son's turning 7 tomorrow, so
Hey,
happy birthday
Happy
to
birthday,
my son
Declan.
Declan. Yeah,
So he's born on
birthday.
April. So wait, Derek, he was born on April Fool's?
and yes, and let me tell you, you know how hard it was for me personally to tell my family without them thinking I was lying to them. Yes, it was a whole ordeal.
Man,
Do we wait on a running back or do we take one here?
I do like kind of this sweet spot for the running back. Man, McGuire's still out there at edge, and we haven't hit an edge yet. And I think this is kind of an interesting spot to kind of look at him. After
I like
that,
Henry too.
Yeah, so maybe we can circle back around on that. I think it's a good spot to take running back. I just I definitely like Sean Tucker, Chase Brown, or Izzy right here. I feel like you can be pretty good about all that. Izzy is maybe just my favorite because he's still 20, not going to be even 21 until October. He's got all the athletic traits that you want. The biggest thing is that he maybe has that Saquon Barkley syndrome where he kind of bounces around a little bit and doesn't take the first cut and just take the yards that he's got. But I feel like that's something you can coach with maturity, with age, with seasoning that's going to help him hit his ceiling.
1,300 yards for Pitt at 20 years old.
His burst,
4.3 to 4.4 speed, 41-inch vertical, almost 220. I think he weighed in at.
That's just a guy you can get right now that could really be an every down back for you. That can give you that speed, that juice, that pass.
Well, and even if he's not an every down back, you can bring in Zeke with him if you do cut mix.
Real quick, show me a wide receiver again. I know this is kind of probably too early for that, but
Trey Palmer's my guy, and he's from Nebraska, which is that.
They love offering the future picks on this mock machine, don't they?
Yeah.
They do.
2024 must not be a good draft class or something.
Well, then when the trades come up, it blocks the view of everything going on. You can't even see it.
Right
now, tackle. I still the way this board is, we can get one in the 6th.
I think we can get Warren McClendon on the back end, and I like him. I like Nick Saldiveri down there. Those are two of my guys, the late round guys.
Now, if we want to double dip on tight end with Kraft and Kuntz, who had
that's interesting.
Good Lord, that would be.
I'm not against that.
Yeah,
I wouldn't be surprised if the Bengals did double dip, maybe a little bit later in like the 6th or the 7th, and get a guy like.
But if you can get a 6'7" guy that ran a 4.5,
you're betting on the athleticism and saying we can teach him to do all the other things.
Yeah.
So I think edge is still obviously tackle we're going to wait on. I think edge is kind of an outstanding. Oh my gosh, McGuire's still there.
There's your guy.
So is Henry. I feel like Henry was definitely like more productive than Miles Murphy.
He had a good year this. Yeah. Yep.
I don't know. I'd be cool with either of these guys. So I'll let you guys kind of decide and talk your truth and talk about your guys.
I would take Henry personally because, for whatever, and I said this the other day, I said, for whatever reason, Clemson, the guys that go early don't pan out. The guys that go late, they pan out.
I don't know. T worked out pretty well.
No, I'm talking their defensive linemen.
I know.
The Grady Jarretts and the DJ Readers, the guys that go in the 4th, 5th round on their D line pan out.
Hang on, can I just address something in the comments real quick? I see I would trade Mixon and Williams for a third each. Guys, Austin Eckler has been more productive than Joe Mixon, is on a contract that's half as cheap as Joe Mixon, and still can't find a trade partner. So I understand that we would ideally like to get a 3rd round pick for Mixon, but that's just not realistic. People aren't going to trade for a running back on a $12 million contract who's almost 28 now. There's a reason Zeke got cut, and it's not because nobody wants a running back. It's no one wants a running back who's making more than $6 million. It's why Aaron Jones, another running back who was more productive than Joe Mixon, has been
asked to restructure.
Took a pay cut the year after he extended. So
that's why Jamal Williams, who had 15, 16 touchdowns last year, barely got a payday this year.
It's just the state of the running back position, guys.
Lord.
It's rough.
Do you think anybody would even take Mixon without a pick to take over that contract he's got?
I don't even think they would. I think they would say
so.
we're going to wait for you to cut him and then we'll sign him for.
I think we'd have to give him a pick to take that contract.
Yeah, you almost would have to Brock Osweiler that deal, so to speak.
Yep.
Yeah.
Yeah. That's the thing. I think a lot of people like where all this shit's going crazy with like, you're going to cut Mixon, not cut Mixon, restructure, cut, ask him to take a pay cut, whatever.
Right.
It's like, man, it's somewhere like, hey, Mixon is very, very good. He's still 26. Like, he can add value to a team, but you can't just pay a guy $13 million when
he's giving you bottom 25% production. That's just,
and it's not the current market value for running backs, especially that are, like you said, giving that production.
It doesn't mean you hate the guy either.
No, you can say a guy, I love this guy, and he's overpaid. If Andy Dalton was making $50 million, I'd be like, look, he's a nice guy, but he's still getting overpaid. It doesn't mean I hate the guy. I want him to succeed. I'm pro player. I want them to make as much money as they can. But if you're asking me to give my opinion and my analysis, then he's overpaid based on what he gives you. That's just the honest facts.
I agree. And now going back to this mock draft, the overall is the same thing, Evan, where we were kind of at, is McGuire or Henry. And honestly, I'm good with either.
Me too.
So anybody got to flip a coin, take one?
Poor Chop was saying he likes KJ Henry, doesn't he?
I like KJ.
Let's go with it.
I'll go with it.
Let's go ahead and swing Henry then.
Yeah.
All right. I was just going to go with the higher rated guy from the board, but
I like McGuire. Maybe it's a little bit of voter fatigue for me because we took him in the draft the other night for us too. So maybe I'm just trying to switch things up. But.
Hey, we got the tight end I wanted. I could care less where we go.
Hey, we got my guy Julius Brents. As far as I'm concerned,
he's over there. He's over there, smart.
Hey, we got Kansas in the first round, so we're golden.
Dude, this is already an A+. So you can't. You can draft 3 punters and be fine.
We got both the Pittsburgh guys who balled out at the pro day. So,
dude, can we go to Josh Wiley here?
Payne Durham. Okay.
Now, hear me out. What's our tackle look like? Because if Warren McClendon's still there, I am very interested in taking him at this point.
Let's do it if he's there.
Oh, we lost the alt man.
I was gonna say, Derek, I gotta fucking piss, man. I ain't gonna.
Hey, I was just gonna say, I can't.
You guys chat about this for a minute. I'll be.
I was gonna say, I can't rotate this any better than because obviously he's running it. But I was gonna say, Payne Durham or Josh Wiley. What's your thoughts on those two, Evan?
I definitely kind of prefer Wiley. Just obviously, you've got the local connection. You've got a little bit of that upside on the receiving side, and you can talk about, maybe the contested catches just weren't quite there with the ball placement and the offensive struggles a little bit that they had transferring from Ritter to a new quarterback. I definitely think you can see the upside with Wiley. In Payne Durham, obviously, it would be at this stage in the draft, like you can feel good about either of those players, and they're double dipping. And again, this is one of those positions that takes a while for you to get back to develop into a capable starter. I mean, even George Kittle had to take years before he got to where he is. Obviously, Darren Waller went from wide receiver to tight end, and Travis Kelce didn't come into the league and just immediately become the staple, right? Dallas Goedert took a while. Like all these tight ends usually took a little bit to develop because, again, you got to be bigger and stronger. You got to have better technique because the guys you're going up against are going to blow you off the line if you're not ready for that or if you don't have that size. So in this range, I definitely like a Josh Wiley, a Will Mallory type.
I switched to the offensive tackles, but I'm just sitting here like, damn, that felt really good.
McClendon's still there.
McClendon's still there. If you can get a guy, you could have this is kind of like a
Carter
trade.
Warren too. Carter Warren's like
Carter Warren's not a bad look either.
Yeah.
You going to pick 3 pick guys? Or did we not get – you got –
Take all the players from
all the Pittsburgh players.
Cincinnati, convert them over.
Like Tyler Boyd.
Our guy Parker Blake.
We're taking all your talent.
London, I do know that.
Yeah, I'm good with whatever you guys want to do.
I do. I go McClendon.
What about
Greg?
Greg, but what about Josh Wiley?
SEC guys.
You need a right tackle, Dale. I'll wait for Wiley the next round.
Man, don't fucking piss off Greg.
I know. He gets fucking big savage mode.
Yeah. BSG.
So, what do you guys want, Warren or McClendon? I even like Ryan Hayes, but I think he's going to project more as like a left tackle guard in the NFL, personally.
Anybody with strong opinions?
Not really.
I don't have
I like Warren as well.
What about Parker Blake, who I rely very a lot.
Fuck Parker. I got to go against a mock draft with him and Jared tomorrow. And we're going to actually see who gets the best. We're going to do a full first rounder tomorrow. So I'm picking Carter Warren. Fuck
All right.
Warren.
All right. Pittsburgh.
There we go.
3
Now,
Pittsburgh players.
I have a question here. In the 7th round, when you start to look at this, are you guys
Connor.
thinking this is basically a priority free agent, right? Because a lot of these guys are basically going to be UDFAs, maybe not stick through camp all the way. Do you feel like there's more value in taking a guy who's a backup quarterback or a punter that you know can offer you? He's going to be on the roster. He can give you what you want. So
if we take a punter here, it's our number
the Michigan
one
guy.
punter.
Yeah,
I'm all for it. Hey, I am 100%
What about,
addressing the
But
punter.
McClendon is still here. Evan Hall is still here.
Go to tight ends. Go to tight ends. See, is Wiley still there?
No, Greg.
Can I ask you something real quick, Dale?
But I
How
do like
far-
Braden Willis. How
Or
He's a
did
good blocker.
Tucker Scott? Is it Tucker Scott? go
Trey
before?
Tucker
Or
from
Trey Tucker,
I think he just went. I like Elijah Higgins from Stanford as a receiver. If you were going to take a receiver.
He's got that really serious injury history, doesn't he?
Yeah.
I think he can be.
Which, I mean, it's the 7th round.
UFA.
Obviously, you're taking a chance on that anyway.
I think that's the other guy.
Was that Palmer from Nebraska? Or no, Michael Wilson?
No, the
Michael
other.
Wilson.
Wilson, the other Stanford guy.
Right.
Shit, I'm taking Malik Cunningham because I want a quarterback that can do something different.
Hey, Tommy DeVito was my NCAA quarterback like 3 years ago. So, I got a special place in my heart for him.
Man, I'm just looking through all the. I like Trey Dean, honestly. That late. I like Lonnie Phelps. He played in the Senior Bowl, and he's local Cincinnati guy. So he'll probably be at the local pro day. Wouldn't shock me if they took him. McClendon stands out though at this point.
Man.
So does Evan Hall. But
So
then
what
we
do you
got
guys want to
punter.
do? You want to take an upside swing on one of these tackles? or
Bryce
one of these-
Behringer. That's who I want.
You know what, though? You call
you know
Bryce
what?
Behringer. You get on the phone with him after the draft, man. You want to play for the Bengals, you're going to compete with a guy that can't kick the ball fucking 20 foot off the ground.
Listen, listen.
Play for a
you know what?
championship your rookie year.
Hey, I don't have many connections, but one guy I do have a pretty good relationship with is Shane Graham.
Mm-hmm.
So I'm going to ask him tonight. I'll do it for you guys.
All right.
I'll ask him his true thoughts on Behringer as a potential pick at punter. Because he told me last year, like, wow, I probably shouldn't say this, but he told me that there was a lot of shit about the guy that the Bills took, the punt god that everybody wanted, that he knew that he was not even in the picture. The guy the Ravens took, which they took him in. The Ravens took that guy in the 4th round. That was our punter number 1, the Bengals punter number 1, and they were very interested in him.
Yeah.
I just think that if they call the, undrafted, that they got a really fucking good shot of him coming here just because he could possibly play for a championship, and Drew Chrisman can't get the fucking ball off the ground.
Any return specialist left?
Like a wide receiver
Or cornerback, I mean, really, but
I'm not seeing anything that stands out to me.
yeah.
No.
Okay.
I think I just take I could take Warren McClendon, I guess, and then I say, I'm going to sign Behringer as undrafted.
Yeah, bring him in to compete at right tackle if you've got that whole medley right there. Yeah.
Fine.
And at this
Carter
rate,
Warren
we're
McClendon back to back.
at this rate, are we trade? Because considering we waited till the last round, are we trading a 2024 draft pick for Jonah if somebody calls, or are we just letting him go in and compete?
I guess since you didn't take one early, I think you got to let him compete before you think about.
He is our starting right tackle with the way this fell, in my
Yeah.
opinion.
Right.
Like that, and that's what I mean. When you do these mocks, it's like it looks better if Jonah's willing to play right tackle.
Yeah.
Yep.
It doesn't look that good if you don't get one. You don't want your 6th, 7th round picks to be your starters.
I feel like we're hearing that podcast growling right now because we got a child singing in the background. My daughter's, I'm not sure what she's singing, but
But I would
At
take
least-
Behringer. I do like, and Shane might be like, "Fuck you, I'm not telling you anything," but I am going to ask him. I am gonna ask him.
Yeah.
I've never asked him for shit.
Hey, let's just get him drunk again on the show.
I mean, he gave us over 4 hours.
I know that's. We do need to have him on again. It's been a while, so.
But he's been doing all the tours with all this stuff and getting people ready. Like that's a job now.
After the draft,
I'm happy for him. Mm-hmm. And I guess he was at Reds opening day because he was in the parade.
Yep, and I saw him hanging out over at E&O too. So
yeah,
I think that was E&O.
He's the man. Mm-hmm. But Evan, dude, you are also the man.
You're
gonna have to come on more often.
Absolutely, man. Just reach out anytime.
Every day at 3:30.
No.
We're not as good as First Star, but
no, that's all right. I got enough on my plate already, man. I did that free agency show for 5 days, man, and I don't know how you guys do it, man. 5 days wears me out. I was at the end of that. I was ready to sleep all weekend and not leave the house.
Mm-hmm. It's passion, but every few months we get you on once every few months just to catch up on shit with the Bengals because. Dude, I'm telling you.
Next time Evan comes on, we'll be talking about the Joe Burrow contract. How about
Derek,
that?
Shut up. Hey. You used to be my best friend. I got a new best friend now. It's Evan. Shut up. I don't need you no more. I got Evan now. Just shut up, Derek.
Hey, that's all right with me. No, I'm just kidding.
I do come with the baggage, Evan. I do come with the baggage, to be fair.
You got the whole package, man. You got the show. You got the Miller Lights. I mean, you got the Bengals knowledge. I mean, what more do you need in a bestie right there? You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, Derek, you should appreciate me more.
You got the 3 a.m. phone calls in the summer.
Oh, shit. Don't tell them about that, Derek. Shit.
I work night shifts, so it's okay. But.
I was going to say.
Got some booty call implication on that phone call?
No, none of that. It's more like, oh, man, I'm fucking hammered, and I know you're at work. So I need somebody to talk to because I'm fucked up.
I love it. I love it.
Hey, we're just putting it all out there, Derek. Come on now.
Absolutely. Hey, so looking at our draft we just did, what would you give it a grade-wise, Evan?
Yeah.
Man,
I think that was a B.
You got Kraft in the 3rd round, and
we got all the Pittsburgh players. The best 3 Pittsburgh players.
Brent's in the 2nd. I mean, if you're talking the Bengals walk away with Cansey, Brent's, and then Kraft in the first 3 rounds, I mean, I know you didn't get the tackle that you wanted necessarily, but at the same time, the tackle
Jonah's still on the roster.
He is, and you didn't want to pull a Billy Price and say we're going to reach for a Burgeons, we're going to reach for DeJuan Jones in the 1st round.
We got Izzy.
Yeah. Right. Mm-hmm. So you've got guys who are capable. Maybe you bring a veteran into camp after this, like a Fleming, like a Fant, just to shore up the position a little bit. But I think McClendon could legitimately be a capable starter for you, if not this year, then next year possibly.
I fucks with it.
So if we keep Williams and we get those and the draft goes that way, do we cut Collins?
That's tough because Collins just is on a cost control contract, right? To where if he's not playing, you're not paying, right? Which is one of the best places to be for a guy who, when he is healthy, is an average tackle. So let's say you get these guys in the 6th round, right? Let's say you just get McClendon in the 6th, and then you've got him, Jonah, Adeniji, and Collins. You can roll Jonah out there or McClendon and let them all battle it out in camp, and then you can say, hey, Lyle Collins, take 8 to 10 weeks, take 12 weeks, hell, take 15 if you want. Get your back right, because we know that when you're healthy, you can be a quality starting tackle. So maybe he gives you more when he's healthy in 12 or 15 weeks than a McClendon does in his first year, or
I'm cross training McClendon all season long as a backup to play guard and this and that.
Yeah.
That way, if anybody gets injured, he can fill in there. That way, when Collins comes back, the numbers work out that you don't have to cut anybody.
And then the best thing ever could happen for the Bengals. Say the Vikings right tackle tears his ACL. Now, obviously, it's terrible for that guy. Terrible.
It happened with Sam Bradford, where Sam Bradford got hurt and they were able to trade tons of picks for him. Yeah, so teams get desperate, right? So I think that's definitely a possibility. If a team comes knocking like there and they feel like they have competition there, then they can do that. Yeah, absolutely.
Now here's one that I'm not big on the player. Talk about injuries. Been very injured. But he's also like 6'2", 6'3".
The Bengals did like him coming out too. And
I know
that mattered with Cody Ford. That was something that mattered to them. And that's when you pull these guys from the NFL veteran scouting department, right? You pull up your draft report with them, because that's why teams say, hey, it didn't work out in scenario A, but we feel like this is the reason, and we still believe he can be the guy we thought in the draft.
I think if they're going to bring him Wynn, they wouldn't have brought in Ford.
Yep.
I think they brought in Ford. Yeah. Even though we don't think Ford is like a guy, I think they could have waited. They didn't have to rush to bring in Ford on a minimum contract, but they just brought him in. So I don't think they're looking for, because I'm still high on Cam Fleming at right tackle if it would work out, but
maybe they were doing Orlando Brown a favor.
Maybe they were friends. We know they like Cody Ford. Maybe it made everybody happy.
Yeah. Welcome to Cincinnati. Here's a buddy. You know this guy.
At the same time, maybe they feel like, hey, he gives us a little bit more than Max Sharping does, and that's nothing against Max. He's just a backup guard. I mean, that's tough for anybody when you go and play against Chris Jones as a backup guard, right?
No, and I think Sharping is a very good, and they did bring Sharping back after. That's what, like, when Ford first signed, I was like, oh, he's just a backup guard.
Right.
And then they brought Sharping back, and I'm like, well, then it come out about the right tackle. So I don't know how the timetable worked with, like, when Jonah requested his shit after Brown was brought in and stuff. But it all happened within a day or two, so.
Kind of the same thing that happened with Andy Dalton. Probably he saw the news and was like, hey.
Well, Zach Taylor didn't give a fuck. He said, Andy, it's your birthday. Fucking sit on the fucking bench.
That fucking Andy Dalton didn't need a goddamn news conference to figure out what the fuck was going on with him. I mean, we had the number 1 pick and Joe Burrow was there. Fucking Andy Dalton already had the suitcase packed.
No, I'm talking when they benched him. I'm talking when they benched him.
Yeah.
Ryan Finley, man. Ryan Finley, like.
Yeah, he got us Joe Burrow.
Hey,
Ryan Finley for the Ring of Honor.
He beat them fucking Steelers.
Then he
Monday
comes in and
Night
he beats
Football.
the Steelers the next year.
Fuck the Steelers.
Ryan Finley, Bengals.
That finger roll will live in Bengals infamy forever.
He's going in the goddamn Bengals fucking Ring of Honor one day.
Nah, man, him on the goal line smiling like how the hell they even get that picture?
That's so great.
He's like on the ground. He's got that big fucking smile. I love that picture.
That was awesome.
Now I will say, and we kind of mentioned this the other day, Greg. A guy that deserves the Ring of Honor whenever they do it is Duke Tobin. He doesn't have the title of general manager, but that guy, Ring of Honor.
I mean, Evan. I mean, I know that he's our general manager. I mean, Duke Tobin. Do you think he gets enough credit at times than he should? I mean, I think he deserves so much more credit at times. Don't you agree?
Yeah, I just because he doesn't have that general manager title, like many people outside the NFL network, not the TV station, but just the collective masses of NFL focused people appreciate him. But I also think he kind of likes that. I just get to be in the shadows and do fun shit. Like he loves football, right? He doesn't want to do all the press conferences and all the speak and be in front of everybody. And he's nothing against John Lynch, but John Lynch is, a handsome, nice, shiny guy who does a lot of press conferences and is very open with the media. And I just think Duke is a lot different than that, but he definitely deserves so much credit for. It's hard. You often see coaches and GMs come in together, right? And the reason for that is because you have to be on the same page about how to build the team, because the coach's job is to win with the players he has. And the GM is supposed to give players to the coach that fit his scheme and their idea, right? And so often you get that headbutting of the general manager likes a guy, but the coach doesn't like a guy, doesn't think he fits the scheme well or does something well that he wants. For Duke to go through multiple coaches to adjust how the coaching staff too, and Zach Taylor's credit, how they came in and said, we're going to run this wide zone system and play a lot of under center. And now they're like, oh, well, never mind. It didn't work out well. And now we're doing a shotgun gap run scheme. And okay, well, we're going to go get you Orlando Brown and we're going to go do all this different stuff for Lou Anarumo to get him guys that he wants back there, to get him guys like Von Bell and Mike Hilton that have that versatility. So kudos to both of them just for communicating so well.
I saw the same thing, Dale. I'm trying to figure out.
Look at the picture. But yeah, let's go, man. I don't know. There's a lot going on
I
there.
saw the picture. I'm like,
I'm like, I need to see this closer.
We
so
love
I'm
it,
trying
Manny.
to examine it.
We
I'm
love
sorry,
it.
Evan. I wasn't trying to.
I think it's the Bengals slate.
Yeah, how do you like my profile pic? I don't know.
Yeah.
That's what I was saying. That's what I'm trying to like.
Oh dear God.
Oh my.
It's
a lot going on.
Yeah, there's a lot going on in that one.
Yep.
All right. Well, guys, it's been fun.
Evan, blast.
Appreciate you.
Yeah, absolutely, man. Looking forward to next time, man. Always down to drink some brews and talk some Bengals.
Thank you
Let people know what you got going on, Evan.
Oh, shoot. Okay. You guys can find me on Twitter at emcphil. You can find us. We do State of the Jungle, a Bengal-centric show on Wednesdays live at 7 p.m. And we also do just kind of a general NFL and general sports talk show on Mondays at 7. So you can find the link to all that. It's in my Twitter profile. So go ahead and if you guys get done watching this show at 3:30 or however what time they decide to go on that day, pop over and take a look at us, man. We love to answer listener questions, include you guys in the show, and we got a lot of fun events and other things coming up soon that we'll be announcing. So appreciate it if y'all can come along, and be happy to see a lot of you guys there too.
Hey, I just want to say, next time you guys are carrying around that briefcase of knowledge, make sure you got the handcuff on. Make sure you got them handcuffs on because you don't want that getting away. That's all I got to say.
We'll get those first star handcuffs. We'll get them on there, you know?
All right, Evan, appreciate you. See you, bro.
Hey, thank you guys. Take care, all right?
Everybody.
See ya.
Derek, what the hell are you talking about? Handcuffs and shit.
You know what I'm talking about? They was doing that promo,
When they were
walking with
walking
that
into the
briefcase
draft
of
war
knowledge, man.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You had to feel like it took me a minute. That's
when
fair.
they were
Anytime you're
into
walking with the
in the draft
briefcase
war room.
and it's got everything you need to know about everything, you've got to have the handcuffs on so no one can steal it, man.
We need to do one of those videos in lot
Yes.
one with us, but it's like we're gonna be walking and then like we trip over each other when we fall,
Yeah.
and just like all the fake monies fall out.
I was going to say
They're
we're
flying.
walking with handcuffs on a briefcase full of freaking beer or something.
Yeah,
Hey.
the briefcase opens up and a fucking
I'm
bunch
game.
of other
I'm game
lights
for
fall
all
out.
the ideas to like recreate, but I don't want anybody to take. Once again, don't want anybody to take any shit personal. Like,
Yeah.
once again,
We're here to joke around and have fun.
yeah.
Yeah.
We can't worry about what other people think as long as we just do our thing and make ourselves happy.
Absolutely.
Or jump
Just-
on a motorboat, your fucking titties.
I'm going to bring them
this
motherfuckers up to you on Thursday. You can motorboat the shit out of them.
week. On a motorboat.
Oh, God.
Get up in there.
Anyway, Manny, we're live every single day, but
Well, not always. I took a break on Wednesday.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah,
man.
but we've been live, Greg. I think for the past like 3 weeks we've done.
3 weeks in.
Uh,
Dale, just start out with you want to do a show?
we'll probably
But I
slow
will
down a
say,
little
like,
bit
dude,
after
follow
the
us.
draft.
The easiest thing is follow us on YouTube or follow us on podcast form because podcast, you know, you can listen to audio wise. Now
When we get to how many subscribers are we doing to give away this beauty right here?
I didn't think we were putting a cap on it. I thought we were going to have a little fun with our subscribers that we
Oh,
already
let's have a
have.
little fun with it. Let's have some fun. Look at that baby.
I thought it was going to be a draft thing since it's draft hat.
Oh yeah. Go ahead. Yep.
Oh,
I
never mind.
remember
Put it
that.
back.
So, like the first round, you know, we'll just ask everybody, and you know, it'll be our show that we do right before the draft. Who's your pick? Who's your pick for
Mhm.
round one? And then if there's like 10 people that get it, cool, awesome. You guys are
10 people
still in the
advance.
running. Now we're gonna roll it over to the second round the next day. Can anybody predict that? And if they don't, then we'll just fucking be like, hey, circle jerk for fucking who gets it.
We'll do another one, another whatever it is, trivia question. But we'll start off with that. Yeah, that's great. I love that idea.
Hey, we might as well go another 13 minutes. I'll rip a heater. It's fine.
All right, you want to get another 13? What we got to talk about?
Well, we haven't done a 2-hour episode in a while. So
It's been a minute. Let me ask you guys this:
ask
free
us
agency.
questions.
Free agency. Is there anything else pre-draft that you want done?
Cam Fleming, the right tackle.
Pre-draft. You want him pre-draft?
Yeah.
Okay.
I mean, my dream pick is Yannick Ngakoue, but I know that's not going to happen.
Especially now that they run in Basham, Greg. That's what I was thinking earlier. I was like, damn it.
But Dale, got to stay Cincinnati, bro.
I like that.
I like it too. You talked me into it, Greg. I would like him to bring in Zeke. Would be a good one for the running back because just open up that fucking draft board.
For my wife's horniness, man, she was all about Cincinnati as well.
Mm-hmm. Orange Arrow, man. And so, Derek, my new saying, and people ask me, Greg, are you being serious? And I said, I'm Home Alone 2 serious.
Yeah.
My new
Val Kilmer is not the best Batman.
Yes, he is. Shut up.
Come on,
no,
man.
he's not.
Christian Bale, Michael Keaton. There's like 12 Batmans. Like
our co-host is coming in here saying you guys are still going.
Literally, like fucking Val Kilmer's like the worst Batman.
Shut up.
How do you pick him to be the best one?
You got Ben Affleck. You got
Ben Affleck.
Clooney was pretty bad too, to be fair.
Man. But no. Ben Affleck, just stop talking. Don't say that name, please. Just don't say that name.
He was good.
No, he wasn't.
He doesn't know.
So, Derek.
Derek rated him number 2.
No, Derek. You
I
know
didn't
why
agree,
I'm not going to see Ben Affleck as Batman? Because
Manny, I fuck with you, Manny. That's my Batman too. That is my Batman too.
The bat nipples.
Christian
That
Bale
was crazy.
is my Batman.
Hey, Derek, I'm never going to see Ben Affleck as Batman because I don't need to drink piss to know what it tastes like.
Wrong. You got to drink piss to know what it tastes like.
Yeah, you'll never know. Otherwise, you'll just...
What is it? The dodgeball reference about?
If you can dodge a bullet, you can dodge a bullet.
Do I have to drink my own piss? No, but it tastes great, and I can't remember exactly what he said.
I don't know. Yeah. But Greg, you fucked that up too. You said dodge a bullet. It's if you can dodge a wrench, you can dodge a ball.
That's right.
God damn, Greg, you're off your game now.
Hey,
that's Keith has a good thing right there, Keith. Because we technically don't have a backup quarterback right now.
Yeah, and they did you guys see they wanted Cooper Rush? Did you guys see that? They made an offer to him.
That caught me off guard.
Yeah, I didn't see Cooper. Everybody loves Cooper Rush, man.
Well, especially Cincinnati likes him because he beat us, so they think he's great. He did a good job while Dak was out.
Hey, I swear, Manny ain't my burner, but Manny's my dude. I fuck with him.
Hey, who's Zach Taylor's burner, by the way?
Well, we said maybe it was Crypt Keeper.
Or Stranger.
Oh, I got a bone to pick with you, too, by the way, Dale.
Oh!
Uh-oh. Here the fuck we go.
Uh-oh!
I just happened to be listening to the Tigress and Brews talk, and you were talking about how something about the QBs going 1, 2, 3, and you're like, yeah, I don't remember who said, but somebody said that was literally your co-host that said, when was the last time the quarterbacks went 1, 2, 3, and you're like, I don't remember who said that.
Hey, listen, man, I'm just going to defend Dale because that was
but...
like his third show of the day, and so he was about a fucking case and a half in.
He goes through 2,600
Yeah, he was about a case and a half in.
Somebody's got to carry this fucking show.
Right.
Damn sure ain't you, Derek.
No, it's definitely not me.
I mean, your wife's been yelling at you since you fucking came on here.
I know.
But I love her.
Absolutely. Hey, Keith, don't forget to DM me your address and stuff. I'll get that koozie shipped out to you.
Keith, you might get more than you bargained for. He might send you a butthole picture.
I mean, hey.
I bet that's a mouthful of fucking Midwest barbecue.
Not cheese, but
cheese.
What was that, Greg?
It's cheese.
Oh, and another thing, Dale. This is why I know we're kindred spirits. When you guys were talking about breakout players, the whole entire time I was sitting there thinking, when you guys were talking about the third breakout player, I was thinking, thinking, you know what? Somebody that I think could possibly be a breakout player is a guy for a gunner position. And lo and behold, guess what Dale said?
Tyson Anderson.
I like Tyson Anderson.
I just love his, like Dale said, I love his speed too.
Well, some people were like, he was a 5th round pick, Greg, and I'm like, well, the guy ran fast. There was George Iloka. I mean, he had a couple good years with us. He was a 5th round pick and did fine. I mean,
I know, but I always try to be realistic. Like when people were like, "Oh, we lost Bell. Well, Tyson Anderson can fill in." I'm like, "No, he didn't even play last year. He was hurt. Like, come on, man. Let's see him on special teams." I'm not trying to hate on anybody. I just like.
Well, I wasn't coming at you.
Yeah, you were, Greg.
Yeah. No,
you were. You pointed right at him.
Mm-hmm.
You went like this, right to him.
I gave middle finger even.
Yeah.
You tried to finger me, Greg, and I didn't like it.
You did. Don't be fucking shy. Hey, who here hasn't fingered fucking Dale?
Yeah. All right. That sounds like something for belly up to the bar, but
yeah.
All right, Derek. Do you think we should bring back Drew Sample? Because Crypt Keeper thinks we should.
I don't personally.
No.
I liked him the first 2 years. The 1 year, I forget who was it. The year that after Tyler Eifert left, CJ got hurt for a couple of games, and I think Drew Sample, he was averaging like 10 yards a catch, and I'm like, well, maybe he can. And then the following year, I don't think he done anything. So
he was your last year, literally, Derek. You said that
I was going on for the bit. It was a bit.
You were not. No, to be fair, you were not. When this started, we talked about breakout candidates one day, and you said Drew Sample.
Because of if you look at his stats, he had 10 yards a catch.
I looked at his stats his senior year. His best season. 25
in
catches,
the NFL.
Yards.
In the NFL. He's averages 10 yards a catch.
Brought in a blocker, he can't even block. That's triggered. I'm sorry.
That sample is triggering for you. I understand that. We're moving on.
I hope.
We're going to upgrade.
Nick Scott better than Bell? Ooh. What do you guys think?
I don't know. We knew what we had in Bell.
No, right? Remember, Bell was not that great when he came here. I mean, he was okay with the Saints, and I think Nick Scott could be the same Bell.
But he was a second-round pick / could have been a first-round pick. So the talent was kind of there. Same thing with kind of Eli, that Eli was a first-round pick. So, talent-wise, you knew it was there. It was just getting that out of them.
Right.
Yeah.
And that's Nick Scott was like an undrafted guy. And I'm not saying that he can't be as good as Bell because, I mean, the dude's been playing well. I didn't know anything about him when we got him. And Bell, I know what we had in Bell.
Right. Yeah.
I don't know what we have in Scott. I'm willing to see.
Does he have the potential? Yes, I think he does. But
yes.
I'm hoping.
Yeah.
Hoping.
And then, Stranger, as far as Wilcox, I personally like Wilcox better than Sample. I didn't, but I do now.
Yeah, say it again. Say it again for the people in the back. I like anybody better than Drew Sample.
Yep.
Fucking a pure peanut butter sandwich is better than Drew Sample. Come on,
hey,
Greg.
Speaking of which,
peanut butter
Greg,
sandwiches
let's
good.
talk. What is Drew Sample compared to food-wise?
Drew Sample compared to food-wise? Okay, I have no problem saying this at all. He is like a chicken salad sandwich, and I hate chicken salad to death.
Oh, no.
Fucking chicken salad's badass.
I hate chicken salad. You know what I do to chicken salad sandwich?
No.
I take it and throw it out the window. That's what I do with that.
Yeah, but what if I like chicken salad?
Gosh.
Well, then
This
you're
is just making it worse for me, Greg.
They got a whole fucking restaurant sells nothing but chicken
I hate
salad.
chicken salad. I hate it. Bill, you all right?
Oh, no.
Greg, I fucking love you, man.
Maybe why can't he be like fucking beef liver? Who the fuck likes beef liver?
I need it over a chicken salad sandwich.
Fuck
Liver
that.
and
He's
onions,
beef
I like-
liver.
Okay, I'm a country boy.
I was gonna say, Derek's over here
Chicken
like
salad is not country.
Derek's like,
Chicken
you said
salad is like the most
thing, and I'm still gonna like it.
Wait, Derek. Chicken salad is not country. You serious?
No, I started liking chicken salad when I moved out east.
Okay. I was
I
gonna
like
say.
chicken salad's fucking good.
Well, then Then you're not. Whatever. If you like to eat crap,
When he moved out
East
east,
of Cincinnati, Eastgate.
10 minutes away from where he used to live.
Yeah.
By the way.
Oh man,
he's a chicken salad sandwich. That's
Greg,
what
you gotta go.
Chicken salad is good. You get the grapes in there
I
and the
hate
nuts.
chicken salad.
Oh
my
man,
God. You don't. What the fuck is wrong with this, man? It's
With
chicken and
celery in it?
mayonnaise.
Oh my God, it's disgusting.
You don't like celery?
I'll eat it straight up, but I hate it in other stuff. I hate it. I hate it. I hate it. It is Ben Affleck bad.
oh, I'm dead right now.
Can't
right.
we all agree on a food we don't like? Chicken salad's good. Derek must like fucking beef liver.
I do.
Dale, do you like chicken salad?
I like chicken livers too, but
Bro, I like chicken tenders and French fries.
Yeah.
And ketchup. Derek knows. Like, we
Go
go
get
out to eat
steakhouse
somewhere
order chicken
fancy.
tenders, Yep.
Yeah. I'm not fancy.
No, I like chicken tenders, but I like a burger over chicken tenders. But yeah, okay.
Yeah, I don't really fuck with a lot of
Most
stuff.
of it happened in the group chat.
What the fuck?
I don't know.
All right. We're at the 2 hour mark.
We're close
We got
enough
30
now.
seconds though. We didn't make it yet.
Derek, are you gonna rail your wife tonight? Yes or no?
Probably.
Ooh, shit, ask me.
Pork chop, you gonna rail Derek's wife tonight?
Ooh. Ooh. Well, DM me your address, Derek. I'll bring a case of Keystone.
You gotta get a little more expensive than that.
Greg, you gonna rail Derek's
I'll go
wife
Natty
tonight?
Light.
Chris Cooper, The Accountant was a really good movie.
Yes, it was. It had that one guy in it. Man, he's fucking great. What's his name?
Ben Affleck.
Oh,
I think.
yeah, that guy. He's fucking good. Hey, listen. Also, Greg's saying Ben Affleck was not a good Batman, and he has not fucking seen Ben Affleck as Batman.
I don't need to.
Derek,
you know what?
we
On
listed
Thursday, you're
we
drinking
listed
a
like
fucking cup of
20
piss.
movies that Ben Affleck's been in, and he's like, I haven't watched it.
Maybe
So
that's
he
why.
just
'Cause I've seen.
refuses to watch anything he's in.
Yeah, when we get up there,
What's the
he's
movie
gonna
where
drink
he
a cup
was
of
the?
piss and watch Ben Affleck.
No, look,
Yeah,
I
yeah.
like Good Will Hunting because of Matt Damon, Rob Williams, but I,
All right.
but I just falsely.
Greg, sell me this pin.
Isn't that Wolf of Wall Street?
Nope. It's a Ben Affleck movie. Who can get it? Who can guess this?
The Town? I don't know. Argo?
Pornhub.
Can anybody in the chat guess the movie?
Pornhub.
Anyway,
Is that Good Will Hunting?
it's not. I'll have to look it up because I'm
He doesn't know
drawing-
the fucking.
I'm
answer.
drawing a
know
blank
the
on
hell it
the name. I've seen the
Sell
movie,
me this
obviously.
Here's a trivia question.
Somebody will post it up, but before I can look it up. But
I feel like you just did the Matt Damon from Good Will Hunting, and it wasn't
No.
even Ben Affleck.
oh, son of a bitch, I did.
It's Matt Damon.
Hold on. I'm looking it up right now because for some reason I felt like it was Ben Affleck in The Accountant, but I could be wrong. No, The Accountant was the Hitman movie, right? Anyway, carry on.
I'm just gonna look at you with shame at this point. A lot of shame.
Where he takes the pen and he says, "Okay, you need this pen, $20 or whatever." Was that Wolf of Wall Street?
He wasn't in that.
I know, but I feel like I've seen so many movies with Ben in it. Yeah, you're right. It is Matt Damon. Anyway, this has been Bengals and Brews.
Yes, it has.
I've drank too much bourbon. I'm outta
Yep,
here.
we're gonna go with that.
Yeah, too much bourbon.
All right, so he exited himself. So who day, everybody?
Yeah,
Appreciate y'all for
it's
tuning
fruit
in.
chicken salad.
Man,
And-
fuck you, man. Chicken salad is good shit.
You know what? Go eat shit from a toilet, pork chop.
I'll eat fucking chicken salad from a toilet.
Who day, baby? Let's go! It's time! Cincinnati, we gon' rise and up. In the jungle, we unite and up. Trippin' orange and black and white. Who day when we fight? Live and die in these stripes. Now who gotta move rockin' on? Now who wanna move crossing on? Now who wanna move out on? If you let the city know you rock 'em. Yeah, we got